Chapter 854. Both of them had eaten a lot, but they looked like they hadn't had enough. If it weren't for the fact that she could earn some money, she wouldn't be able to raise such a big family. Waiting for the two people to finish eating, Xiao Yun cleaned up the dishes. Mo Yen burped loudly. After burping, she looked at Xiao Yun and Mu Lianfeng awkwardly. Well, Master, Madam, I ate a little too much. Mo Yen didn't forget to flatter, it's all because Madam's food is too delicious. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to. Xiao Yun couldn't help but twitch the corner of her mouth a few times. So, it was her fault that he ate too much. Mu Lianfeng rolled his eyes at Mo Yen and snorted, eat less next time. Oh. I know, Master. Alas, I can't control myself. Besides, there's so much food. We can't waste it, right? Don't worry. It won't be wasted. As long as he was here, he could eat as much as he wanted. Mo Yen answered resentfully again. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart that her master was too inhumane. It was fine that she bullied him usually, but she was stingy when it came to food. Could it be that she couldn't see how much weight he had lost after coming to this mountain? Mu Lianfeng, if you have something to do, you can go ahead. I'm going back. Xiao Yun carried the lunchbox and was about to leave. At this time, the sky outside had already darkened. Mu Lianfeng was afraid that Xiao Yun would be in danger if she went down the mountain alone, so he said to Xiao Yun, Yun, it's not safe at the foot of the mountain. I'd better give you a ride. Xiao Yun shook her head, it's fine. You go ahead. I can do it alone. Xiao Yun didn't want to waste Mu Lianfeng's time. In the past few days, because of this matter, Mu Lianfeng was so worried that he didn't have a good rest. His eyes were bloodshot. Xiao Yun felt very distressed when she saw this. I'm not busy. Yuner, I'll give you a ride. I can also go out and get some fresh air. Mu Lianfeng insisted. Hearing Mu Lianfeng's words, Xiao Yun didn't know what to say. She nodded and said, okay, then give me a ride. Mu Lianfeng's lips curled into a smile, making people feel as if they were bathing in the spring breeze. The two of them walked out of the tent side by side and headed towards the foot of the mountain. When they reached a place where no one was around, Mu Lianfeng suddenly pulled Xiao Yuner and hugged Xiao Yuner tightly in his arms. Xiao Yuner was stunned by Mu Lianfeng's sudden action. She couldn't help but ask, what's wrong, Mu Lianfeng? Are you okay? Mu Lianfeng shook his head and said, I'm fine. It's just that I've been too busy these 2 days. I don't have time to accompany you and Daodu. Hearing Mu Lianfeng's words, Xiao Yuner also curled up the corners of her mouth. In fact, she had missed him a lot. But she could tell the situation clearly. Mu Lianfeng was busy with business. Naturally, he didn't have much time to accompany her. It's fine. When you're done, you can accompany us again. Xiao Yuner said with a smile. Mu Lianfeng responded, but he was very worried in his heart. Rather than being worried, it was more like he was afraid. Because this matter was very tricky, he was afraid that if he didn't handle it well, the emperor would be angry. At that time, not only would he not be able to ask the emperor to grant him a marriage, he was also afraid that the emperor would torture him. Chapter 855. But if he didn't do it well. Although the emperor didn't have any reason to blame him, he had other ways to make things difficult for him. Mu Lianfeng was afraid that Xiao Yun would be implicated. It wasn't easy for them to have hope, but this time, it was abruptly interrupted. Xiao Yun broke away from Mu Lianfeng's embrace. Seeing Mu Lianfeng frowning, she stretched out her hand to smooth out the wrinkles between Mu Lianfeng's eyebrows. She said to Mu Lianfeng, take your time. You're not alone now. You have Daodu and me. Mu Lianfeng responded. Xiao Yun's words were like a warm current flowing through his heart. Let's go. Xiao Yun held Mu Lianfeng's hand and was about to continue walking when they heard a sound from the grass. It was a woman's coquettish voice again. Xiao Yun's face was suddenly dyed with a blush. She knew who this familiar voice belonged to. It should be Zhang Cui, who couldn't bear it anymore and went to find someone to do it. It would be fine if she ran into it alone, but Mu Lianfeng was with her. Mu Lianfeng seemed to have noticed it too. He frowned and asked softly, Yun, what's this sound? Who's there? Let's go and have a look. Xiao Yun was shocked when she heard it. She hurriedly pulled Mu Lianfeng. What was there to look at? It would be so embarrassing if she ran into Mu Lianfeng at the same time. Well. It should be nothing. You'd better not go and have a look, Xiao Yun said casually. The more Xiao Yun said, the more curious Mu Lianfeng was. Yun, do you know who it is? What happened? Mu Lianfeng raised his eyebrows and asked. Well. Xiao Yun didn't know how to respond. What could she say? She couldn't possibly tell Mu Lianfeng that the man and woman in the bushes were having an affair right in front of him. I'll go and have a look. It's so late at night. What if something happens to her? Mu Lianfeng was silent for a while and finally insisted on going. With Mu Lianfeng's tall body, Xiao Yun realized that she couldn't hold him back at all. She could only let Mu Lianfeng do as he pleased. Xiao Yun lowered her head and quickly followed him. Be careful. Let's take a look first. Don't disturb others. What if nothing happened? All right. Mu Lianfeng walked over softly. When he got closer, he saw a man and a woman performing an erotic scene in front of him. Ahem. Yun is fine. Let's go. Mu Lianfeng said and covered Xiao Yun's eyes, as if he was afraid that Xiao Yun would see it. Seeing that Mu Lianfeng was so calm, Xiao Yun couldn't help being curious. Did he really not see anything? It didn't make sense. She couldn't have been hallucinating just now. Xiao Yun couldn't help but ask, Mu Lianfeng, didn't you see anything? Mu Lianfeng stopped walking and shook his head. No. However, after saying this, a trace of unnoticeable awkwardness flashed across Mu Lianfeng's face. But there was a sound just now. Mu Lianfeng cleared his throat. Yun'er, let's go. It's other people's business. Mu Lianfeng's words made Xiao Yun realize that Mu Lianfeng had seen Zhang Cui doing it just now. He just didn't want her to see it, so he deliberately said that. Seeing Mu Lianfeng's serious look, she felt that he was really cute. Chapter 856. Mu Lianfeng sent Xiao Yun to the entrance of the village before turning back. He didn't come back to sleep for the past 2 days and slept directly on the mountain. Xiao Yun felt a little uncomfortable with no one to warm her bed. On the way back, when she passed by Mulan's house, she saw a sneaky figure. She didn't know what he was doing. Xiao Yun was very familiar with this figure. It was none other than Mulan's wretched uncle, Zhu Sanlu. Needless to say, Zhu Sanlu was still strolling in front of the courtyard at this time of night. There must be something wrong. Meanwhile, the lights in family Zhu's house were on in Mulan's house. Zhu Sanlu's reaction seemed to be very anxious. He looked nervously in the direction of family Zhu. Xiao Yun came closer, and Zhu Sanlu also noticed Xiao Yun Zhu Sanlu wanted to flirt with Xiao Yun After suffering a loss that night, he knew that Xiao Yun wasn't so easy to deal with. Therefore, he just stared at Xiao Yun wretchedly for a while. When she met Zhu Sanlu's gaze, Xiao Yun couldn't help but frown. She said to Zhu Sanlu unhappily, why are you looking at me? Do you believe that I won't gouge your eyes out if you keep looking? Xiao Yun's tone was a little shrewish and threatening. Zhu Sanlu smiled wretchedly and said, little girl, aren't you good looking for people to see? Is there anything wrong with looking at you? Xiao Yun couldn't help but roll her eyes and say sarcastically, I'm good looking for people to see, not for a beast like you. Zhu Sanlu knew that Xiao Yun was mocking him. He glared at Xiao Yun angrily and said, woman, how can you say that? Xiao Yun's sneer deepened. Look, I'm not wrong to say that you're a beast. As long as you're a human, you can understand my words. Only beasts can't. Zhu Sanlu's anger was stirred up by Xiao Yun. How could this woman be so overboard? She kept calling him a beast. How was he a beast? Don't go too far. If you provoke me, I'll hit you. Zhu Sanlu gritted his teeth and said. Xiao Yun only thought that it was funny. Glancing at Zhu Sanlu's thin and weak body, Xiao Yun put her hands on her waist, condescendingly said, I'm curious if you can beat me. Xiao Yun's words made Zhu Sanlu feel that his dignity had been greatly insulted. What she meant was that he, a man, couldn't even beat a woman. If this spread out, who knows how many people would laugh at him. In order to prove himself and save his dignity, Zhu Sanlu decided to teach Zhu Sanlu a lesson first and let Xiao Yun see how powerful he was. Just you wait, stinking woman. I'll beat you until you kneel down and beg for mercy. With that, Zhu Sanlu rushed over. Zhu Sanlu thought that if he really subdued Xiao Yun, he would molest Xiao Yun, while he was at it. It would be a pity if he didn't bully such a beautiful woman. Seeing Zhu Sanlu rushing over, Xiao Yun stood calmly in the same place. She couldn't understand Zhu Sanlu's thin and weak body. Where did he get the confidence to beat someone? Let's not talk about her. Even an ordinary woman with no skills might not be able to defeat him. Chapter 857. Xiao Yun's movements were as smooth as flowing water. At the same time, she kicked Zhu Sanlu away effortlessly. Withdrawing her foot, Xiao Yun's eyes flashed with disdain. After Zhu Sanlu flew out, he screamed, "Aw!" His scream was very miserable. It hurts. It hurts so much. Zhu Sanlu said and struggled to get up from the ground. But before he could straighten up for a while, he fell down again. Seeing that Zhu Sanlu's chin was knocked open, Xiao Yun's heart was secretly pleased. Xiao Yun lowered her head and squatted in front of Zhu Sanlu. Her voice sounded sarcastic. What? Didn't you say that you were going to teach me a lesson? Why are you so weak? Zhu Sanlu gritted his teeth. You wait and see. Humph. Oh, you're still being stubborn. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson. Xiao Yun said and stepped on Zhu Sanlu's crotch again. Zhu Sanlu hurriedly begged for mercy. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have hit you. Please let me go. The reason why he became so scared in a second was that the thing below was too important for Zhu Sanlu. Now that it was finally getting better, if Xiao Yun's foot went down, wouldn't it be impossible for the things below to get better? Xiao Yun sneered and said, What? You were still lustful just now, but you lost your courage so quickly. It's my fault. I shouldn't have taken advantage of you. Please let me go. I don't want to be impotent for the rest of my life. I promise that I will stay far away from you when I see you in the future. I will never dirty your eyes. Hearing Zhu Sanlu's words, Xiao Yun felt that it was acceptable. Jiao Tian got down from Zhu Sanlu's dirty thing with disgust. He raised his eyebrows and said, Remember what you said today. Yes. Just when Zhu Sanlu thought he was saved, the commotion attracted Zhu Eru. As soon as he saw Zhu Eru, Zhu Sanlu was so scared that he immediately fled. Zhu Eru didn't give him the chance. He immediately stepped forward and grabbed Zhu Sanlu's collar. Zhao Yuner couldn't figure out what was going on. After that, Mulan also rushed over. She frowned and stared at Zhu Eru and Zhu Sanlu. Zhu Eru snorted in a deep voice, "Run. Let's see where you can run to." Eru. Zhu Sanlu called Zhao Eru, but there was fear in his eyes when he looked at Zhao Eru. Zhu Eru coldly snorted, "Don't call me second brother. You only know how to do those beastly things all day, and you still have the nerve to call me second brother." Zhu Sanlu had an aggrieved look on his face. "Second brother, ha, ha, I was wondering why I couldn't find you. It turns out that you secretly ran out to hide. Since you know that what you did was wrong, why did you still do it?" Facing Zhu Eru's aggressive and frightening eyes, Zhu Sanlu began to regret. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have dared to do it. "Second brother, I was wrong. I was wrong. Can you let me go? I won't dare to do it again." Zhu Eru snorted. "Haven't I let you go many times? I'm being merciful by not killing you." Chapter 858. Zhu Eru didn't show any mercy when he beat Zhu Sanlu. Seeing Zhu Sanlu like this, Zhao Yun was worried that Zhu Sanlu would be beaten to death by Zhu Eru. Although Zhu Sanlu was a little hateful, this was the same as the 21st century. A life for a life. If Zhu Sanlu really died, Zhu Eru had to take the responsibility. Seeing Zhu Eru so angry, Zhao Yun couldn't help but ask Mulan, "Mulan, what did your third younger brother do to make Eru so angry?" Mulan sighed and explained to Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun didn't understand what had happened until she heard it. Zhu Sanlu was a disgusting man. Zhu Eru didn't punish him that badly. Under Zhu Eru's punches, Zhu Sanlu's whole face was bruised and swollen. Seeing Zhu Sanlu like this, Zhao Yun couldn't help laughing. He deserved it. After beating Zhu Sanlu hard, Zhu Eru finally vented his anger. He pulled Mulan and said, "Lan, let's go back. We'll be able to answer to Xin this time." Mulan glanced at Zhu Sanlu, who couldn't get up from the ground. She couldn't help asking, "Uncle, do you want to carry him back with us?" Zhu Eru snorted. "Since he wants to hide outside, let him be. We don't need to care about him." "Fine. Yun, I'm going back now. You should go back too." Zhao Yun nodded. "Sure, Mrs. Mulan." After they went back home from family Zhu's place, Zhao Yun fell asleep soon with Daodu. The next morning, they went to the breakfast stall early. It was strange that Yili didn't come to eat breakfast today. Yili came to eat breakfast at her stall every day. It had become a habit. If he didn't come, something must have happened. "Yun, why didn't Lord Yi come today?" Mulan got close to Zhao Yun and asked curiously. Zhao Yun shook her head. "I don't know." There was a hint of disappointment in Mulan's eyes as she said, "Sigh, without Mr. Yi, our business has been greatly affected. There aren't any young ladies buying breakfast today." Zhao Yun chuckled. "Sister Mulan, I think you're disappointed because you can't see a handsome man, right?" Mu glared at Zhao Yun coquettishly. "Yun, haha, haha, aren't you that kind of a woman? You can't even look straight when you see a man." Mulan pursed her lips as if she didn't agree. She reminded Zhao Yun, "Yun, you can only joke about this outside. If Eru hears this, he might get jealous in front of me." Zhao Yun quickly nodded. "Okay, I got it." Although she was joking with Mulan, Zhao Yun was secretly worried about Yili. She hoped that nothing would happen to this guy. She set up the breakfast stall with a heavy heart. Without Yi Li's beautiful signboard, Zhao Yun's business was very bleak. When she closed the stall, there were still a lot of things on Zhao Yun's stall that hadn't been sold. However, these things weren't sold, so there wasn't much left. Zhao Yun and Mulan's families could share a little and bring it to their children. Chapter 859. After shopping at the market, Zhao Yun and the others set off for home. On the way, Mulan and Muhin kept reminding her that if anyone bullied her again, she must tell them. After all, if Muhin didn't say anything, they wouldn't know. They couldn't let Muhin be bullied for nothing. The car stopped in front of old Zhao's yard. When Zhao Yun got out of the car and was about to go back to prepare lunch, she saw Li Chuiying rushing over angrily. It seemed that she was going to fight Zhao Yun to the death. Zhao Yun frowned immediately. She didn't know what Li Chuiying had done this time. She raised her eyebrows unhappily and asked Li Chuiying, "Second aunt, why are you acting like a shrew in front of me? What did I do to offend you?" Zhao Yun's tone was a little more reproachful. She looked at Li Chuiying as if she was looking at a mad dog. Li Chuiying snorted coldly and said to Zhao Yun, "You little b*tch, you still have the nerve to ask. Don't you know what shameful things you've done?" Zhao Yun's frown deepened, and she became more curious. What could she have done? These days, she didn't have any contact with old Zhao's family at all. What did she do to offend Li Chuiying for no reason? Liang Jinchao walked over and said to Li Chuiying, "Second sister-in-law, what's the matter? You can make it clear. You hit her as soon as you came. We're all family. Why are you so impulsive?" Liang Jinchao was also unhappy about Li Chuiying's crazy behavior. If anyone hurt Zhao Yun she would definitely not let them off easily. Li Chuiying took a few deep breaths. She rolled up her sleeves and pouted. She looked at Zhao Yun and Liang Jinchao aggressively and said, "Didn't you want to ask why? All right, I'll tell you about it today." Li Chuiying didn't mind the trouble and shouted outside old Zhao's yard, as if she was afraid that she wouldn't cause trouble. "Everyone, come and judge. How can there be such a shameless b*tch in the world?" Along with Li Chuiying's loud voice and the gossipy nature of the villagers, a lot of people came to join in the fun after hearing Li Chuiying's loud voice. Seeing that there were villagers here, Li Chuiying became more arrogant. "Third sister-in-law, don't blame me for being angry with you. Look at what a good daughter you have. What's wrong with my daughter?" Liang Jinchao replied unhappily. Except for Zhao Ping, Liang Jinchao knew Zhao Yun very well. He couldn't find anything bad about her. "Don't you feel ashamed to say this? Zhao Yun has learned how to seduce people. She even dares to steal her cousin's man." Li Chuiying was very angry when she said this. Her face was gloomy. When she saw Zhao Yun's face, she wanted to tear Zhao Yun's face apart. If Zhao Yun becomes an ugly monster, let's see if she still has the ability to seduce men. "Second sister-in-law, what do you mean? You can't talk nonsense. When did Yun steal her cousin's man?" Liang Jinchao also asked with a gloomy face. At this time, there were so many villagers and neighbors. If Li Chuiying slandered Zhao Yun like this, it would be really bad for Zhao Yun's reputation. Zhao Yun narrowed her eyes slightly. She wasn't anxious and thought about what had happened in between. Why did Li Chuiying say this? Chapter 860. My sister-in-law, you shouldn't be so protective of your daughter like this. Let me make it clear in front of so many people. Anyway, you're the ones who should be embarrassed. Our Jing and child Zheng's marriage were going well, but Child Jing suddenly asked matchmaker Feng to come over today and say that he wants to marry Yuner, not Jing. My sister-in-law, why would Child Jing say that? Your daughter must have done something to make him change his mind. After Li Chuiying finished speaking, Zhao Jing'er walked behind Li Chuiying with a sullen face. She seemed to be very sad. Mom. Zhao Jing called her mother in a hoarse voice. Her eyes were red. She had been crying. Zhao Jing'er probably thought that this was a good marriage and that she had almost reached an agreement with the Jing family. She should be able to marry Jing Qian. She didn't expect that matchmaker Gao would suddenly come over today with this news. No one could bear such a huge sense of loss. Mother, forget it. Zhao Jing'er pulled Li Chuiying and said. Now that Jing Qian had said so, what else could she do? She couldn't argue with Jing Qian and force him to marry her. If other people knew, they would definitely laugh at her. Zhao Jing'er felt wrong thinking about it. Li Chuiying pulled Zhao Jing'er's hand. Jing-er, how can we just let it go like this? Zhao Yuner, that little bitch, stole your future husband. How can you do this? Dear neighbors and fellow villagers, please be the judge for me. Although the onlookers didn't know what had happened, they had a general idea. Previously, Li Chuiying thought that Zhao Yuner had found a good marriage and even showed it off in the village. He didn't expect that only 2 days later, the person he wanted to marry became Zhao Yuner. It must be that Zhao Yuner seduced Zhao Jing'er's future husband. Therefore, the villagers began to talk about it. I didn't expect Zhao Yuner to be such a person. Exactly. How could she steal her cousin's man? Well, who knows? There are all kinds of people these days. No wonder old Zhao's second branch is angry. Anyone would be angry. That's not the case. It's probably because Zhao Yuner felt that Jing had married into a good family, so she was jealous and snatched her away. That's probably the case. Otherwise, that man wouldn't change his mind and say that he's here to marry Zhao Yuner instead of Jing. Yes, of course. The villagers were chattering, but they were all leaning towards Li Chuiying's side, criticizing Zhao Yuner's bad words. When Zhao Yuner heard this, she only felt that it was very ridiculous. Did these people have any brains? Why did they believe what others said? Li Chuiying was very proud when he heard that Zhao Yuner was criticized. This was the consequence of stealing Zhao Yuner's man. He was going to ruin Zhao Yuner's reputation and see if Zhao Yuner still dared to do it. Zhao Yuner, sister-in-law, what else do you have to say now? Li Chuiying seemed to be in the right and continued to ask. Well, Liang Jinqiao didn't know how to refute Li Chuiying. So he looked at Zhao Yuner and waited for Zhao Yuner's response. Zhao Yuner shrugged innocently. Aunt, you're ridiculous. That's not how you slander people, right? Chapter 861. Li Chuiying was so arrogant because she was sure that the villagers would stand on her side. However, in Zhao Yuner's eyes, she was just a clown. Zhao Yuner sneered. Second aunt, let's not talk about why Child Jing changed his marriage partner to me. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. I just want to ask, do I have to seduce Child Jing and come between Sister Jing and Child Jing? How is that impossible? If you didn't seduce him, would Child Jing take a fancy to you? Zhao Yuner, don't quibble. It's useless. Li Chuiying criticized her angrily. Zhao Yuner snorted. Second aunt, where did you get the confidence that I would take a fancy to Child Jing? Child Jing is just a little rich. How can he compare with Child Shitzi? When the onlooking villagers heard Zhao Yuner's words, they realized that a Child Shitzi was standing on Zhao Yuner. Unless she was stupid, she wouldn't abandon Child Shitzi to be with an ordinary person like Child Jing. Besides, marrying Child Jing isn't going to be his wife. It's just a concubine. Second aunt, I'll make it clear to you here. Even if Child Jing takes a fancy to me, it's useless. I definitely won't agree. Only you treasure me as a concubine. Do you think you've hooked up with a rich husband? After Zhao Yun finished speaking, there was a meaningful smile at the corner of her mouth. The onlooking villagers were in an uproar. It turned out that marrying Child Jing to be a concubine was something that Li Chuiying had the face to show off in front of the villagers. They thought that Zhao Jin had married into a good family. Then the villagers continued to talk about it, all of which were unpleasant to hear. How could Zhao Jin stand other people's comments? Her face turned red and she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Mother, I told you to stop talking. Why are you still talking? Zhao Jin said angrily to Li Chuiying, then ran away with her face covered. After all, he was only a teenager. It was normal for him to feel ashamed. Zhao Yun sighed in her heart when she saw that Zhao Jing was about to cry because of the villagers' comments. She didn't want to hurt her cousin, but Li Chuiying was too difficult to deal with. If she didn't say that, how could she refute Li Chuiying? Li Chuiying's face turned pale. In her heart, she was cursing Zhao Yun, this little bitch. She was too much. Not only did she steal Jing's man, but now she was causing gossip. Li Chuiying was not willing to give up and continued, Zhao Yun, you're just saying it. Who knows what you're thinking in your heart? Using the heir apparent as a shield. If the heir apparent was really willing to marry you, he wouldn't have remained silent until now, right? Why are you still cooped up in the village and living like us? You can't live in the crown prince's residence. In my opinion, the heir apparent doesn't care about you at all. Maybe you can't even be the heir apparent's concubine in the future. That's why you want to marry Child Jing. Zhao Yun's eyes suddenly became sharp. This woman really had a lot of imagination. Chapter 862. Mu Lianfeng's voice was cold, but it was very intimidating. Li Chuiying was completely shocked by his words. With Mu Lianfeng admitting it himself, it was useless even if Li Chuiying wanted to criticize him. Similarly, she didn't dare to do so. If he offended Mu Lianfeng, he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. It seems that Yun has been slandered. She's not stupid. She can be the princess consort of His Highness, but she can't be someone else's concubine. That's right. Anyone who isn't stupid knows how to choose. Even without this comparison, ordinary men wouldn't be willing to marry someone else as a concubine, right? Yes, so what if she's rich? Being a concubine has no status at all. She can't even eat at the table. It's far worse than being a legal wife. Why would anyone want to be a concubine? Zhao Yun didn't care about the villagers' discussion. Yes. Yes, His Highness, I won't do it again. Li Chuiying was frightened for a while before he came back to his senses. He hurriedly replied. Zhao Yun sneered. Mu Lianfeng was indeed useful. As long as Mu Lianfeng showed up, all the bad guys would get out of here. Second aunt, next time, please figure out the truth first before you make trouble for others. It's not good to slander people like this. Zhao Yun warned. Li Chuiying gnashed his teeth in anger, but could only nod and agree. Yun, let's go. Mu Lianfeng pulled Zhao Yun and said. Okay. Zhao Yun responded. The crowd began to disperse gradually. Zhao Yun went to the kitchen of the third branch to prepare lunch for the men. Mu Lianfeng followed behind Zhao Yun and didn't know what to say. Looking at Zhao Yun's busy back, a trace of guilt emerged in his heart. After all, Zhao Yun was bullied like this today because he didn't do a good job. He didn't give Zhao Yun a status, and couldn't let Zhao Yun become his princess consort. That was why she was slandered like this. Thinking of this, Mu Lianfeng felt that he had to marry Zhao Yun as soon as possible. He had to let everyone know that she was his wife. Princess consort should be loved by everyone instead of being bullied. Give him a little more time, just give him a little more time. He would definitely let her marry him in a grand manner. Zhao Yun turned around and saw Mu Lianfeng staring at her back in a daze. She could not help but raise her eyebrows and ask, Mu Lianfeng, what's wrong with you? Why are you in a daze? Mu Lianfeng finally reacted. He curved his lips and said with a smile, Yun, I'm fine. If you're fine, go back to the room and rest. Dinner will be ready later. Mu Lianfeng shook his head. No need. I'll help you cook. Go and rest. My mother and I will be enough in the kitchen. Yun, I specially came back from the mountain to spend more time with you and Daodu. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone down the mountain. Zhao Yun's lips curved. She said with a smile, all right then. Go and start the fire. Okay. Zhao Yun then called out to Liang Jinqiao. Mother, help me cut the vegetables. Okay. Liang Jinqiao responded. Looking at Mu Lianfeng, who was busy in front of the stove, Liang Jinqiao's eyes revealed a strange emotion. Chapter 863. Her Yun was blessed to be able to find a man like the heir apparent. As Zhao Yun cooked, she asked Liang Jinqiao, Mother, didn't you say that youngest aunt was coming today? Why isn't she here yet? Speaking of this, Liang Jinqiao was also very curious. Yeah, I find it strange too. If she was coming, she should be here by now. Why isn't she here yet? Could it be that she has something on today, so she can't come? Liang Jinqiao muttered. Zhao Yun thought about it and felt that it was possible. After all, every family would have some kind of situation to some extent. It was a pity that she had prepared so many dishes. If her youngest aunt didn't come, she probably wouldn't be able to eat them. She didn't know when her youngest aunt would come over, so she couldn't possibly prepare good food every day. As they were talking, a woman's voice sounded from outside the door. Eldest sister, eldest sister. Liang Jinqiao's hands paused, and she smiled at Zhao Yun and said, Yun, speak of the devil. Your youngest aunt is here now. She's just in time for lunch. Zhao Yun responded. Liang Jinqiao walked out of the kitchen, and Zhao Yun followed curiously. She was curious about what her youngest aunt was like. After Zhao Yun walked out of the kitchen, she saw a woman standing in her courtyard. Beside her was a 16 or 17-year-old boy who looked about the same age as Zhao Tianan. However, Zhao Yun realized that although her youngest aunt was younger than Liang Jinqiao, she looked very old. She seemed to be a few years older than Liang Jinqiao. Zhao Yun's youngest aunt, Liang Jinyu, had yellowish-brown skin. Her hands were so wrinkled that they couldn't be looked at. She was skinny, without a trace of meat. Even her clothes were tattered, and there was a lot of white hair in her hair. He was clearly a man in his 30s, but he was tormented as if he was in his 40s or 50s. It was a heart-wrenching sight. The reason why Liang Jinyu was like this was because her family's condition was too poor, much worse than old Zhao's family. In order to survive, her aunt's family had contracted a lot of land. Then, under the oppression of the landlords, her harvest was very small. She worked herself to death all day long, and the family didn't have much rice to eat. They were often in a state of hunger. Little sister, why did you only come at this time? Liang Jinqiao went forward and greeted her. Zhao Yun came over and greeted Liang Jinyu, Auntie. Liang Jinyu stared at Zhao Yun and asked Liang Jinqiao, Sister, is this Yun? Liang Jinchao nodded. The corner of Liang Jinyu's mouth revealed a kind smile as she said to Liang Jinchao, "Big sister, your Yun has become more and more beautiful." With that, Liang Jinyu took Xiao Yuner's hand intimately and sighed slightly. What a good child. It's just that she has suffered a lot in the past few years. Liang Jinyu knew that Xiao Yuner was pregnant before marriage, but Liang Jinyu didn't know about the changes in Xiao Yuner's family in the past few months. Even so, Xiao Yuner found that her youngest aunt didn't dislike her at all. This attitude was very different from that of ordinary people. Xiao Yuner's heart warmed, especially when she met Liang Jinyu's concerned eyes. Those eyes couldn't be faked. Her youngest aunt was indeed as her mother said. She wasn't a weirdo. At the same time, Xiao Yuner sighed in relief in her heart. Finally, the whole family had met a normal person. Chapter 864. Auntie, I'm fine. You can go in and rest for a while. Lunch will be ready soon. Speaking of this, Liang Jinyu waved her hand and said to Xiao Yuner and Liang Jinchao, I came to see you. I'll go back after I send the money. I still have work to do at home. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rushed over so late. As Liang Jinyu spoke, she took out a wrinkled red paper bag from her sleeve and handed it to Liang Jinchao. She said to Liang Jinchao, elder sister, this is a little token of my appreciation, although it's not much. Liang Jinchao took it. Seeing the heavy copper coins in the red packet, he knew at a glance that Liang Jinyu had given a lot of money. Liang Jinchao knew that his younger sister lived a hard life. It was not easy for her to take out money, let alone take out so much money. Liang Jinchao looked at it and saw that there were 66 copper coins. He guessed that Liang Jinyu was thinking that it was good luck. Liang Jinchao's brows were tightly knitted together. She pulled her younger sister and said, little sister, you can just give 15 copper coins or 20 copper coins to express your sincerity. Tell me, why did you suddenly take out 66 copper coins? Liang Jinchao's face was stiff, as if he was unhappy with Liang Jinyu's behavior. Liang Jinyu said, elder sister, it's not much. Ping'er is my niece. Do you think I can give less? If you think this money is too much, you can ask Ping'er to bring it to her husband's house and let Ping'er have more money for herself. Liang Jinchao sighed and did not know what to say to Liang Jinyu. Younger sister, your family's conditions are special. Life is not easy. How can you take out so much money? Use the rest of the money to buy more things for your children to nourish their bodies. Look at how thin Shirtu has become. The Shirtu that Liang Jinchao mentioned was the boy who came with Liang Jinyu, Xiao Yuner's cousin. When he was growing, he didn't eat well, so he was malnourished. He was dry and thin, and his height was half a head shorter than Zhao Tianan's. Ah, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Big sister, if you don't accept it, then you're looking down on me. Liang Jinchao naturally couldn't say anything after hearing what Liang Jinyu said. If she continued, it would only make Liang Jinyu think that her family didn't accept so much money because they pitted her family. No matter what era people were in, the last thing they wanted to see was other people's sympathetic eyes. She hated being pitted by others. Zhao Yuner tugged at Liang Jinchao's sleeve and said, Mother, since it's a gift from Xiao Yi, don't be so long-winded. Quickly accept it. Liang Jinchao responded, okay, I'll tell Ping about it later. Tell her that her aunt treats her the best. Liang Jinchao's words made Liang Jinyu feel a little sad. She thought about how she had given 66 copper coins to her second sister's daughter. At that time, her second sister's reaction was not like this. Not only was she unhappy, but she also complained that she had given too little. She even said that Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui had given her 200 copper coins. In fact, her second sister didn't know that even though she had borrowed money from others and scraped together the 66 copper coins, she probably wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. Now that she compared herself to her eldest sister, Liang Jinyu was puzzled. They were obviously sisters, so why was there such a big difference? Her eldest sister was much more considerate. Chapter 865. Well. Liang Jinyu seemed to be a little hesitant. Seeing Liang Jinyu's hesitation, Xiao Yun said with a smile, "Aunt, how long will it take to have a meal? You and Brother Stone have run so far. You must be tired, right? You can't just come to my house and leave. You should at least take a rest and drink a glass of water. It's almost noon. My mother has prepared a lot of dishes for you today. You can't let my mother's efforts go to waste." Liang Jinchao agreed, "Yes, sister. Why do you say that you should leave after having a meal? She has prepared a lot of good dishes today." Liang Jinyu was afraid to trouble Liang Jinchao. Liang Jinchao and Xiao Yun persuaded her repeatedly, so she was too embarrassed to refuse. "Sister, will it be too much trouble for you?" Liang Jinyu frowned and asked carefully. Liang Jinchao shook her head, "It's okay, sister. Don't worry. Now that we've separated from the family, it's not troublesome for us to entertain people." Only then did Liang Jinyu relent and reply, "All right then, big sister, I'll stay and eat." "Okay." Liang Jinchao responded with a smile. She invited Liang Jinyu and Stone into the house and poured a cup of tea for each of them. "Sister, sit down and have a rest first. I'll go and cook. Today, big brother and second brother are also here. We can have a good talk." Hearing Liang Jinchao say that Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui were also here, Liang Jinyu was slightly surprised. "Sister, why are big brother and second brother also here?" Liang Jinchao told Liang Jinyu about what had happened at home. Hearing that, Liang Jinyu couldn't help sighing in her heart. She didn't expect that the situation of her sister's family had changed so much during this period. However, seeing that her sister's family could live a better life, she was happy too. "Sister, you can go and help them. Don't worry about me." "Okay, then sit down and have a rest. Don't worry. I'll go and cook. It won't take long." "All right." When Liang Jinchao returned to the kitchen, Xiao Yuna was already busy. Xiao Yuna was quite satisfied when she thought of her simple aunt. If all her relatives could be like her aunt, then there wouldn't be so much trouble. Soon, a fragrant smell wafted out of the kitchen. Liang Jinyu and Shirtu, who were sitting in the third room, couldn't help but swallow their saliva when they smelled this aroma. Shirtu couldn't help but say to Liang Jinyu, "Mother, I smell the aroma of meat. Can we eat meat for lunch?" Liang Jinyu looked at Stone's drooling appearance, and her heart ached slightly. The last time they had meat was during the Lunar New Year. They hadn't eaten meat in months. "Shirtu, you'll be able to eat meat later. But, don't eat too much, okay? The others still need to eat. 1 or 2 pieces will be enough." After Liang Jinyu's reminder, Stone nodded and replied, "Mother, I know. That's good. Especially in front of your eldest uncle and second uncle. You have to be polite. Otherwise, you'll definitely be scolded by them." Shirtu replied solemnly, "Mother, I'll remember what you said." "That's good. Outside is not like home. Although our family is a little poor, we still have to pay attention to etiquette, okay?" Okay. Liang Jinyu was finally able to put her heart at ease after giving her instructions. Chapter 866. Xiao Yuna was almost done cooking in the kitchen. When Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui saw Liang Jinyu, they frowned slightly. On the contrary, when Liang Jinyu saw Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui, She hurriedly stood up and pulled Stone aside. "Big brother, second brother." Liang Jinyu greeted them affectionately. Stone also greeted Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui very politely, "Uncle, second uncle." Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui responded indifferently, "It's not good to refuse." "Hi." Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui's indifferent attitude made Liang Jinyu feel very embarrassed. However, she couldn't say anything. In fact, she was already used to Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui's attitude. They were always like this when she met her older brothers. After all, their family wasn't good enough. Her two older brothers just looked down on their poor family. Although she felt a little upset, it was understandable. "Big brother, second brother, you must be tired. Hurry and sit down." Liang Jinyu greeted them enthusiastically. Liang Jinshan sneered, "Younger sister, this is our big sister's house, not your home. Why do you act like we're at your home? Don't we know how to sit down?" Yes, big brother, you're right." Liang Jinyu's eyes slightly darkened. She stepped aside and didn't continue to speak. She was afraid that if she said something wrong, Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui would pick on her again. After Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui sat down, Liang Jinhui glanced at Liang Jinyu indifferently and asked, "Younger sister, why are you here today?" Hearing Liang Jinhui's question, Liang Jinyu explained, "Big brother, second brother, isn't Ping getting married? I'm here to give her some money as a gift." "I see. You're so considerate." "It's my pleasure." "Yes, it's my pleasure. After all, you're Ping Er's aunt." "Second brother, you're right." When they were talking in the room, Xiao Yuner brought the dishes in and invited everyone in the room to eat. When the dishes were served, the people in the room couldn't help but sigh at how good the dishes were these days. There were braised pork, roasted lamb chops, braised chicken, steamed fish head with chopped hot red peppers, peanuts, side dishes, and egg soup. The small table was filled with food, and it was as sumptuous as a banquet. Looking at these dishes, everyone in the room couldn't help but swallow their saliva, not to mention being attracted by the rich fragrance. "Ah, today's meal is so sumptuous. Isn't that so? Even a big landlord's family can't eat so well during the new year. We are in for a treat today." The happiest ones were the men at work. The richness of Xiao Yun's dishes was something he had never eaten before. Not to mention paying them to work, even if they were not paid for the sumptuous dishes, they would still be willing to work for the sake of the food. "Everyone, sit down and eat," Xiao Wenhua said. The only difficulty with today's meal was that there were too many people in the room, and they couldn't sit down at all. The women could only stand to eat. Even if they squeezed together, they could barely accommodate a few men. "Ah, it's really crowded to eat here," Liang Jinshan said, then said to Liang Jinyu and Shi, "It's so crowded, how can you two sit down? Hurry up and get up." Chapter 867. Liang Jinyu was embarrassed by Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui's words. In fact, she didn't want to sit down, but Xiao Yun pulled her and Stone to sit down. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sat down. "Oh." Liang Jinyu answered and stood up with Stone. What her two brothers said was right. There were so many people here. How could she, a woman, and Stone, a child, sit down? Stone stood up with a red face. Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui didn't forget to scold him. "Hey, you're so ignorant. Don't you know the rules outside? Poor people are like this. Many people don't know the rules. It's normal. If you don't know the rules, you can learn them. You can't embarrass yourself." Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui said one after another. Liang Jinyu's face and ears turned red, making her feel ashamed. Zhao Yun listened to Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui's words. She couldn't help but scold them in her heart. Was it really good to humiliate and ridicule people like this? Because her youngest aunt was poor, she was ridiculed by her eldest uncle and second uncle. If her family was as poor as before, her eldest uncle and second uncle would probably treat her the same way. People like her eldest uncle and second uncle ridiculed the poor and flattered the rich. To put it bluntly, they were too snobbish. Zhao Yun stood in front of Liang Jinyu and defended her. Eldest uncle and second uncle, it's wrong of you to say that. Youngest aunt and Stone came to our house to give us gifts and money. They are our guests. Of course, our family will treat them well. This big table of dishes is specially prepared for youngest aunt. What's wrong with her eating at the table? Being criticized by Zhao Yun, Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui smiled embarrassedly. They continued unwillingly, isn't it such a small thing? Yun, the money your youngest aunt sent over is probably not enough for you to buy these dishes. They meant that Liang Jinyu was too poor and didn't need to treat her well. They couldn't even get back the cost of treating Liang Jinyu with such great fanfare. She was still looking down on Liang Jinyu. Zhao Yun'er was a little angry. What kind of people were these? Her first and second uncles were really weird. Zhao Yun'er sneered and said sarcastically, eldest uncle and second uncle, you're wrong. My youngest aunt came over and gave 66 copper coins as a gift. Unlike eldest uncle and second uncle, you only gave 20 copper coins. I've treated all of you well, so of course I have to treat my aunt well. Zhao Yun'er's words made Liang Jinshan and Liang Jinhui very embarrassed. Their grayish-black faces flushed red for a moment. At that time, they didn't know that Zhao Yun'er's family's life had become so good. If they had known earlier, they definitely wouldn't have only brought 20 copper coins. Unfortunately, it was too late for regrets. Zhao Yun'er and her family knew that the 20 copper coins they brought were their true intentions. The corners of Zhao Yun'er's mouth curled up slightly. She continued to ask her aunt and Stone to sit down. Because of this matter, the atmosphere wasn't very harmonious. Liang Jinchao also felt that his two brothers' words were too much. He supported Zhao Yun'er's approach. After lunch, the men in the family rested for a while and then went out to work. Chapter 868. She wasn't very clear about her younger sister's recent situation, so she came to ask about it. After learning about Liang Jinyu's situation, Liang Jinchao sighed deeply and couldn't help wiping the corners of her eyes. She thought that Liang Jinyu's life was much harder than hers before, and wondered how Liang Jinyu managed to survive for so many years. Now she had a way to help her younger sister. Otherwise, it would be good to give her a hand. Liang Jinyu saw Liang Jinchao's worry, so she patted Liang Jinchao's hand and said, "Sister, don't worry about me. Life is like this. My family is a little difficult now, but maybe it will be better in the future." Liang Jinchao sighed and nodded. "Okay, Jinyu, remember to tell me if you need any help. I'll definitely help you if I can. Especially when it comes to money, don't be shy. Stone has grown up now. If he marries a wife, it will cost a lot of money." Liang Jinyu was very touched when she heard that. In fact, she didn't often get to enjoy the warmth of family. Even if Liang Jinchao didn't do anything, she still felt much better with Liang Jinchao's words. "Okay, sister, I know. Alas, life is not easy these days. Jinyu, you have the most difficult life in our family. Don't take our brother's words to heart." Liang Jinchao comforted her. Liang Jinyu nodded heavily. "Sister, I know. We're a family. I won't be so calculative. Okay." The two continued to chat for a while. Liang Jinyu felt that it was about time, so she stood up and said to Liang Jinchao, "Sister, I'll go back first. There's still a lot of work to do in the fields at home. Liang Jinqiao saw a little eagerness in Liang Jinyu's eyes, and thought that Liang Jinyu's family might be very busy. Although she was reluctant to leave her younger sister, she nodded in the end and said, "Okay, then." "Okay, Jinyu, take care when you go back with Stone." "I know, sister. Don't worry." With that, he got up and left. Zhao Yuner just came out of the kitchen and handed the packed food to Liang Jinyu. "Auntie, this is the braised chicken and braised meat that I made at noon. I packed some for you. Take it back and give it to your other cousins. They didn't come today, so let them have a taste." Liang Jinyu had already had a good meal at Zhao Yuner's house today. She already felt guilty in her heart. How could she have the nerve to bring something back? "There's no need, Yuner girl. We've already eaten lunch. You can keep these for dinner. Little sister, Yuner's last specially packed it for you, just accept it. If my family wants to eat more, we can buy more and make more." Just like Yuner said, take these back and let the other children have a taste. Well. Liang Jinyu looked at Liang Jinqiao and Zhao Yuner with hesitation. Zhao Yuner had already put the food into Stone's hands without hesitation. "Auntie, you don't have to be so polite. We're a family. I've already packed it. I can't throw it away, can I?" Liang Jinyu sighed and said, "Okay, then I'll take it." "Yes." The corner of Zhao Yuner's mouth raised into a smile. Chapter 869. After Liang Jinyu and Stone left, only Zhao Yuner and Liang Jinqiao were left in the house. "Yuner, only your aunt is living such a poor life in the family. Can you see if there's any way to help their family?" Liang Jinqiao asked. She knew that Zhao Yuner had a lot of ideas. Maybe Zhao Yuner had a way. Zhao Yuner was silent for a while. This group of people had a lot of ideas, such as giving money directly. However, Zhao Yuner knew that with her aunt's character, she would not easily accept charity from others. Therefore, she could only help her aunt find a way to make money. Zhao Yuner thought for a while. If she opened a restaurant, she might be able to get more people to help her aunt. Unfortunately, she was not even sure when she could open the restaurant. As for when she could ask her aunt for help, it was even more impossible. "I have to think of other ways to solve this problem. Mother, why don't we let Aunt raise pigs?" Zhao Yuner asked tentatively. Liang Jinqiao was a little curious. Raise pigs? Zhao Yuner nodded and answered, "Yes, mother. Raising pigs is much more comfortable than farming. Raising pigs is our own business. Aunt's farming is rented by the landlord. Throughout the year, most of the harvest is taken away by the landlord. Therefore, we can't make much money at all. However, raising pigs is different. Mother, think about it. The pork sold is 8 copper coins per kilogram. A pig is more than 200 kilograms, so it can be sold for about 2 taels of silver. If we raise 10 or 20 to 30 pigs, we can make dozens of taels of silver a year. It's much more profitable than farming." Liang Jinqiao thought that raising pigs was indeed very profitable. Many people in their village would raise a cart full of pigs. This way, they could kill them during the new year and sell them for some money. They could also eat a lot of pork. However, raising pigs was a very tiring thing. Therefore, a large family could only raise 1 pig a year, or at most 2 or 3. Zhao Yuner said to raise so many at once. How could they raise so many at once? Liang Jinqiao sighed. "Yuner, it's not easy to raise pigs. It costs a lot of money to catch so many piglets. Besides, what do we feed them? Raising dozens of pigs all at once, wouldn't you need a very big place to raise them?" Liang Jinqiao voiced his doubts in one breath. In Zhao Yuner's eyes, none of this was a problem. Zhao Yuner then explained to Liang Jinxiao, "Mother, you're right. Actually, we only need to pay for the first year of catching piglets. By the second year, we don't need to catch piglets anymore because our sows can give birth. Generally, when sows give birth, there will be more than 10 piglets. In the second year, besides keeping some for ourselves to feed, we can even sell some piglets to make money. As for what to feed the pigs, if we really don't do farm work and focus on taking care of them, we won't have time to gather pigweed and find food for the piglets. Pigs are not very particular about what they eat. When the time comes, we can just get them some rice bran and swill. As for the place to raise pigs, we can only build a large pig factory with 2 or 3 houses. If we don't use brick houses, it won't cost much. At most, it can be built with 3 to 5 taels of silver." After listening to Zhao Yuner's explanation, Liang Jinxiao nodded. Zhao Yuner's words were indeed reasonable. Chapter 870. If they raise 20 to 30 pigs a year, they could probably earn 30 to 40 taels of silver. How could an ordinary farmer earn so much? After a few years, they could even build a house and buy land. Their lives would definitely be happier than they were now. This was indeed a way for Liang Jinyu's family to live a good life. Liang Jinxiao still had something to worry about. How can we let your youngest aunt agree to raise pigs? She probably doesn't have the capital to invest so much, and she probably doesn't dare to. If we lend her the money, she might not accept it. Zhao Yuner frowned slightly. Although Liang Jinyu was a little poor, she was ambitious and didn't like to accept other people's help. If she wanted to help Liang Jinyu's family, she had to think of a way to prevent Liang Jinyu from thinking that she was deliberately helping her family. "Mother, you see, how about this? Let's raise pigs in our village. When we start raising pigs, we'll invest the capital. When the time comes, we'll call youngest aunt and youngest uncle over and let them help us take care of these pigs. In the first year, we'll pay them first. The next day, we'll tell them that the money earned from raising pigs will be split 50 to 50. This way, youngest aunt should agree." When Liang Jinxiao heard this, he felt that Zhao Yuner's method was feasible, so he said to Zhao Yuner, "All right, Yuner, we'll do as you say." After chatting with Liang Jinxiao for a while, Zhao Yuner got up and went back. Zhao Yuner still had to go up the mountain to test out Mu Lianfeng's weapon. Just as she left the third branch's house, she saw Old Man Chen coming over with a smile on his face and a bag in his hand. She didn't know what was inside. When he saw Zhao Yuner coming out of the third branch's house, Old Man Chen walked up to Zhao Yuner with a smile and said, "Yuner, here." Zhao Yuner glanced at Old Man Chen and saw him take out a handful of candies from the bag. "Father Chen, what are you?" Zhao Yuner looked at Father Chen with confusion. This candy was good stuff. Old Man Chen seemed to have a lot of it in his bag. In addition to the candies, Father Chen continued to grab a handful of peanuts and stuffed them into Zhao Yuner's hands. Papa Chen couldn't hide the smile on his face. With such a smile on his amiable face, he looked like the Maitreya Buddha. "Ha, Yuner, my wife is pregnant. This is a joyous occasion. So I went out and bought some sweets, peanuts, and melon seeds to give to the villagers as a celebration." Zhao Yuner was stunned when she heard this. Looking at the excited smile on Papa Chen's face, Zhao Yuner felt unusually sad. Zhao Yuner thought in her heart. Papa Chen only had one wife, and that was Zhang Chui'er. Papa Chen only had a lame son. Zhang Chui'er was pregnant so that the Chen family could carry on the family line. However, for so many years, the Chen family had been looking forward to it, but there was no news from Zhang Chui'er's belly. Although Papa Chen and his wife didn't say anything, they were still looking forward to having a grandson. They couldn't let the Qin family die. After looking forward to it for so many years, Zhang Chuya was finally pregnant. It was normal for Papa Qin to be so excited. However, Zhao Yuner was worried. Was the child in Zhang Chuya's belly really the Qin family's? Chapter 871. Therefore, the child in Zhang Chuya's belly was most likely conceived after she had an affair with another man. In that case, it was not Old Chen's family's root. Old Chen's family was so happy because they were kept in the dark. If this matter was not exposed, Old Chen's family would definitely raise Zhang Chuya's child wholeheartedly. Zhang Chuya had already cheated on her man. How could she let Old Chen's family raise an outsider's child for her? Zhao Yun sighed heavily in her heart. Not to mention that this was the ancient times, even in the 21st century, if such a thing were to be exposed, he would probably be cursed to death. Old Chen saw Zhao Yun in a daze and didn't know what she was thinking, so he asked, Yun, why are you in a daze? Hurry up and take it, I still have to send it to other families. Zhao Yun came back to her senses and there was a touch of bitterness at the corner of her mouth. Although she couldn't interfere in other people's affairs and shouldn't meddle in other people's business, Zhang Chuya was really too much. Old Chen's family seemed to be more pitiful. She couldn't let an honest man be bullied by a bitch. Thank you, Old Chen. Congratulations. Zhao Yun said with a smile, but there was a hint of bitterness in her smile. Old Chen replied with a smile. You're welcome. When Old Chen was about to leave Old Zhao's house, Li Chuiying saw him and hurriedly called out to Old Chen. Old Chen, your wife is pregnant. That's great news. Li Chuiying came forward and said with a smile. Thank you, thank you. Old Chen, since you're giving candy, it's such a great news. You can't just give it to my family and not the other families, right? Li Chuiying said and stared at the things in the bag in Old Chen's hand. Old Chen was a little embarrassed. Well, didn't he already give it to Zhao Yun? So, he gave it to Old Zhao's family. He didn't buy much, so he could only give a little to each family. If he gave it to every family, the things he bought wouldn't be enough. Oh, Old Chen, Tianyu hasn't eaten candy for a long time. You won't be so stingy as to not give it to us, right? Li Chuiying continued to be thick-skinned. She could give the candy to Tianyu. She could eat peanuts and melon seeds by herself. Thinking of these trivial matters, Li Chuiying greedily swallowed her saliva. Since Li Chuiying said that, Old Chen would feel embarrassed if he didn't give it to her. Forget it, it would be fine if he gave it to Old's family's family. Thus, Papa Chen grabbed a handful from the bag and handed it to Li Chuiying. Share some with your families. It's wedding candy. Everyone will feel happy after eating it, Old Man Chen instructed. Li Chuiying took it with a smile and said to Old Chen, got it. Thank you, Old Chen. You're welcome. I'm leaving now. Old Chen said goodbye. Old Chen, don't go too far. Okay. Zhao Yun watched from the side. Seeing Li Chuiying's excited look after receiving the candy, she couldn't help but roll her eyes. She was speechless. How could there be such a shameless and greedy person? Li Chuiying saw Zhao Yun looking at her with contempt and disgust. She scolded Zhao Yun angrily, Yun what are you looking at? Seriously. Is this how the elders look at you? Chapter 872. Li Chuiying couldn't win against Zhao Yun, but she didn't dare to offend her too much. She was afraid that Mu Lianfeng would find trouble with her, so she snorted. I don't want to talk to you. Of course, she wasn't in the mood to talk now. She had just received so many candies, peanuts, and melon seeds. She had to sneak back and hide in the house to eat. The other members of old Zhao's family were all in the house, so they didn't know that Father Qin had come and sent these things. Since these things were given to her, she could take them back and eat them all by herself. There wasn't much to begin with, and old Zhao's family still had so many things. If everyone shared them, what each person got wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between her teeth. How could she eat to her heart's content? She might as well eat them all by herself secretly. Zhao Yuner guessed Li Chueying's good plan, so she shouted in the yard of old Zhao's family. "Grandma, eldest aunt, youngest aunt, come out quickly. Father Qin just sent candies, peanuts, and melon seeds over. Come out and eat them with me. They're at second aunt's place." After Zhao Yuner shouted, the people in old Zhao's house heard that someone had sent these good things over, so they naturally ran out happily. Li Chueying was about to walk out, but she stopped and looked at Zhao Yuner with hatred. "This little b*tch, she's too much." She must have shouted on purpose to attract the other members of old Zhao's family. Facing Li Chueying's eyes that seemed to want to eat her alive, Zhao Yuner's mouth hung a faint smile. "Second aunt, why are you looking at me like that? Did I do anything wrong?" How could Li Chueying say that Zhao Yuner did something wrong? If the other members of old Zhao's family knew about it, they would scold her to death. She couldn't let Zhao Yuner, this little b*tch, have any evidence against her. There are so many good things," Hu Chunhua said hurriedly as soon as she came out. Her originally cloudy eyes seemed to be shining. Li Chueying screamed in his heart, "It's over. It's over." Now that everything was in Hu Chunhua's hands, what else would she want to eat? Zhao Xinhui also walked out and asked Hu Chunhua, "Mother, where are you? I want to eat too. I haven't eaten snacks in a long time. I'm dying of craving them." Feng Zhangxia carried Zhao Yangyang out and Shen Pan followed behind her. Zhao Yuner smiled and said, "Grandmother, isn't it in second aunt's hands?" Hu Chunhua took a look. It was true. She walked up to Li Chueying and said to Li Chueying, "Give it to me." Li Chueying was unwilling to give up. Just as he was hesitating about what to say, Hu Chunhua didn't want to waste time with Li Chueying. She directly took it from Li Chueying's hands. "What are you waiting for?" Hu Chunhua scolded Li Chueying unhappily. Zhao Xinhui walked up to Hu Chunhua with a smile and said, "Mother, give it to me, give it to me." Hu Chunhua felt sorry for her daughter. She hadn't secretly bought anything delicious for her daughter for a long time. Now that she had something good, she naturally had to give it to Zhao Xinhui. "Come on, take it. Eat slowly in the room." Zhao Xinhui didn't have a lot of things. She said a little disappointedly, "Why is there so little?" Hu Chunhua patted Zhao Xinhui. They gave it to you. How much can they give you? Eat it. It's better than nothing." Zhao Xinhui thought about it and agreed. Although it was a little, it was much better than nothing. "Okay, mother, I'll go inside." Chapter 873. Hu Chunhua took a look at her great-grandson. His cheeks were pink and he was very cute. He was also Zhao Tianlong and Shen Panner's child. She liked him from the bottom of her heart. Zhao Yangyang even said to Hu Chunhua sweetly, "Great-grandma, Yangyang wants to eat candy." Zhao Yangyang's greeting melted Hu Chunhua's heart. Hu Chunhua couldn't bear to reject him. Hu Chunhua said to Zhao Xinhui, "Give Yangyang 2 candies." Zhao Xinhui pursed her lips. She was unwilling to accept it. Yangyang is still a child. He likes candies. "Give him 2 and the rest is yours," Hu Chunhua coaxed. Zhao Xinhui was unwilling to accept it, but she knew she had to give it to Zhao Xinhui. All right then, just as she was about to take out the candy, Li Chueying suddenly became anxious. She was unwilling to accept it. Why was it that Old Man Chen didn't let her eat it and gave it all to the other members of Old Man Zhao's family? If that was the case, then why did she ask Old Man Chen for help just now? Li Chuiying hurriedly said to Hu Chunhua, "Mother, my Tianyu also wants to eat candies. I asked Papa Chen for this. You should also give my Tianyu some candies, right?" Hu Chunhua frowned slightly and looked at Zhao Xinhui. Well, Zhao Xinhui was unwilling to accept it. She was afraid that Hu Chunhua would ask her to take out more candy. "Mother, you said you would give Yang Yang 2 candies. The rest is mine." Zhao Xinhui was unwilling to accept it. Hu Chunhua knew that if she asked Zhao Xinhui to take out 2 more candy, Zhao Xinhui would definitely argue with her. "Well, can't you give me 2 more?" "No. No, Mother, if you keep talking, I won't give you a single pill. Yang Yang can forget about getting any." Hu Chunhua looked at Li Chuiying and said, "Second daughter-in-law, you don't have to ask for it. It's not much anyway. What can your sister-in-law eat with only this much?" Feng Zhangxia heard this and was afraid that if Li Chuiying really did not take out any candy for Zhao Xinhui, Yang Yang would be implicated and would not be able to eat any candy. Therefore, he said in a hurry, "Yeah, there isn't much left. Tianyu is an adult now. I think it's better if he doesn't eat it. My Yang Yang is a little younger, so it's better for him to eat." Feng Zhangxia's words made Li Chuiying even more unhappy. Why should her hard work be used as a dowry for someone else? Li Chuiying had a cold expression on his face as he said sarcastically, "Eldest sister-in-law, you've got a pretty good plan. Why should Father Chen's candy be given to your Yang Yang, but my Tianyu can't eat it? Don't use age as an excuse. Yang Yang is already an adult. How can she still eat candy? She's fighting with a child." Li Chuiying's words made Feng Zhangxia and Zhao Xinhui blush. Zhao Xinhui pulled Liang Jinxiao angrily and said, "Mother, look, second sister-in-law said that to me. She's too much." Feng Zhangxia stood on the same side as Zhao Xinhui. "Mother, what second sister-in-law said is wrong. How can she say that to Yang?" Hu Chunhua could not bear to see Zhao Xinhui being wronged, so she glared at Li Chuiying. Li Chuiying pursed his lips and continued unwillingly, "Mother, I didn't say anything wrong. What I said is the truth. I shamelessly asked Old Man Chen for the candies because I want Tianyu to eat some of them." Chapter 874. She thought that this woman didn't know how thick-skinned she was. Hu Chunhua glared at Li Chuiying. "All right, stop arguing with me. If you don't want it, Father Chen won't give it to you. He must be giving it to us. Also, you want something for your younger sister to eat. What's wrong? Why are you talking nonsense with me?" Li Chuiying was reprimanded by Hu Chunhua until her face turned green and white. She really couldn't reason with her mother. No one could beat Hu Chunhua in terms of shamelessness. That was fine. The main thing was that Hu Chunhua said it as if it was a matter of course. She did not feel that she was wrong at all. "Mom. Tianyu can't eat it, and Yang Yang can't eat it either. Can you give it to my younger sister?" Liang Jinxiao asked. Even if he couldn't get any benefits, he couldn't give it to his sister-in-law. "Sister-in-law, why are you like this?" Feng Zhangxia blushed. "Sister-in-law, I can say it like this. If you care about my younger sister, you can tell Yang Yang not to eat it and give it to her." Hu Chunhua knew that if she gave one of them the candy, the other would definitely ask for it. Instead of letting them fight over it, it was better not to give either of them. Therefore, Li Chuiying said to Feng Zhangxia, "My eldest son's wife, your younger sister-in-law is right. Let's give it to Hui. It's not a lot anyway." Feng Zhangxia bit her lower lip unwillingly. Just as she was about to say something, Shenpan walked over and tugged on Feng Zhangxia's sleeve. She said to Feng Zhangxia, "Mother, let's forget about it. Give it to Auntie. Yang shouldn't eat." Shenpan couldn't stand seeing these people arguing over a few candies. If she didn't know, she would think that it was something good. Country people were indeed country people. They were so calculative because they were poor. Zhao Xinhui was proud. "Mom, since they don't want it, I'll take it in and eat it." "Okay, go ahead." Hu Chunhua nodded. Li Chuiying didn't want to give up, but he couldn't make a fuss in front of Hu Chunhua, so he went back unhappily. Before he entered the house, he glared at Zhao Yunhe. If it wasn't for Zhao Yunhe, these would all be hers. Zhao Yunhe, on the other hand, smiled proudly. Zhao Yangyang was only a child after all. If you secretly. Shenpan thought for a while. "Well, if Yangyang really wants to eat it, I'll buy it for you tomorrow." Zhao Yangyang nodded. "Okay, Mom. Yangyang doesn't want to eat candy. I'll eat it tomorrow." "Good boy, Yangyang." Shenpan patted Zhao Yangyang's head. She felt that Zhao Yangyang was very sensible. To have such a son and such an outstanding husband like Zhao Tianlong, even if his days in the Zhao family were a little bitter, it didn't matter. The people from the main branch entered the house. Zhao Yunhe finished watching the show and went back to her shabby house. After finishing her work, Zhao Yunhe went to the mountain to experiment with her previous plan. Chapter 875. Ancient weapons were basically made of iron. Although iron was considered a very hard metal, when two countries were at war, other countries' weapons were also made of iron. At this time, it was important to see whose weapon was more exquisite. The method that Zhao Yunhe thought of was to change the material used for the weapon, changing the material used to make the weapon from iron to steel. As a person from the 21st century, Zhao Yunhe was considered half a top student when she was in school. She was good at chemistry and happened to know how to make steel. The method was not very difficult. Some lime was added to the original iron. After a series of chemical reactions, the oxygen in the iron was removed. After continuing to forge, steel was made. Zhao Yunhe only knew how to do it in theory. She was not sure whether it would work or whether she could forge steel, so she was just trying and experimenting. If it really didn't work, then there was no other way. Of course, if it succeeded, it would be better. The hardness of steel was definitely much harder than that of iron. The weapon made of steel would definitely be harder. When they arrived at the mountain, Mu Lianfeng did not expect Zhao Yunhe to suddenly come. He asked, "Yunhe, why are you here?" Zhao Yunhe looked at Mu Lianfeng's eyes. Because he did not have a good rest these 2 days, there were blood streaks in his eyes. If she could not find a solution today, she would not rest for a day. Zhao Yunhe smiled and said, "I'm here to help you." Mu Lianfeng was confused. "Help us?" "Yes." Zhao Yunhe nodded. "Didn't you say that you want to improve the quality of the weapon?" "I have a way to try." After Zhao Yunhe finished speaking, Mu Lianfeng was silent for a while. He looked at Zhao Yunhe in disbelief. "What? You don't believe me?" Mu Lianfeng shook his head. "No, Yunhe, you're very tired every day. You still have to worry about me." "I'm really useless." Mu Lianfeng's voice was filled with some self-blame. Zhao Yun comforted him, "I'm not worried. It's just that I heard you and Mo Yan discussing this yesterday, and I just happened to think of an idea. Let's try it first. It'll be great if it works, but it's fine if it doesn't." Mu Lianfeng nodded heavily, but his heart was filled with anticipation. If he succeeded, then he would be able to spend more time with Zhao Yunhe and Daodu. In addition, he also told the emperor that once the emperor was happy and satisfied, it would be easier for him to make any request. Alright, Yunner, let's try it first. Yes. Xiao Yun nodded. Mu Lianfeng followed Xiao Yun's instructions and called Mo Yan over. Mo Yan was also overjoyed when she heard that Xiao Yunner had a way. She was just like Mu Lianfeng in the past few days. She was extremely vexed over this matter, but she still could not think of a way. Seeing that the emperor's deadline was almost up, if they still could not think of a way, it would be over. Madam, how are you so amazing? Master and I have been thinking about it for many days, but we still can't think of a way. I never thought that you would think of a way after hearing it last night. If I had known earlier, I would have told you earlier. Xiao Yunner was amused by Mo Yan. This flattery was not bad. However, Xiao Yunner still warned her in advance, it's just a try. It might not work, so don't have too much hope. It's fine, madam. It's better than nothing that master and I can think of. Ha, alright. Chapter 876. All that was left was to wait. She was waiting to see if it worked or not. The few of them waited nervously on one side. Mo Yan was full of anticipation, afraid that it would not work. After waiting for quite a while, the item finally came out of the furnace. After the solution cooled down, a grayish-black object could be seen. Xiao Yun was certain that it was not steel, so she said to Mo Yan, take out a blade and try hacking it. Mo Yan was stunned. She had no idea what Xiao Yun was trying to do. Mu Lianfeng glared at Mo Yan, what's wrong? Did you not hear what the madam said? Mo Yan hurriedly nodded in fright, I heard you. Master, it's my fault. I shouldn't have thought about it. Mu Lianfeng snorted coldly, if you heard her, then do as the madam said. Mo Yan immediately nodded again, yes, master. As she said that, Mo Yan followed Xiao Yun's instructions and took out a blade. She swung it down hard on the lump she had just forged. What happened next stunned everyone. After Mo Yan's blade fell, there was a crack, and the blade broke into two. The metal blade seemed extremely fragile before the object. It was not tough at all. Xiao Yun knew that she had succeeded when she saw this. She had successfully forged steel. Mo Yan looked at Mu Lianfeng in surprise and joy, Master, look. The madam really is impressive. She actually managed to do it. If we use this to make weapons, just how tough will they be? Mu Lianfeng also returned to his senses after his shock. It really was as Mo Yan had said. If they used this metal to make weapons, regular weapons made of metal would not be able to withstand it at all. Alright, then do it according to this method. Once it's done, send it to the emperor to have a look and let him examine it, Mu Lianfeng said with a serious expression. He also let out a heavy sigh of relief inside. Fortunately, he succeeded. Otherwise, he would have to continue thinking of other ways. Yes, master. Mo Yan was stern as well when it came to serious matters. Before she could be serious for a while, she continued to flatter Xiao Yunner. Madam, you're really amazing. You've thought of something that even our entire Tianhan kingdom couldn't think of. Mo Yan looked at Xiao Yun in deep admiration. Mu Lianfeng's gaze also involuntarily fell on Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun's ability once again overturned his understanding. He had never thought that there would be such an outstanding woman by his side, and he had never thought that this woman would be so powerful. In the end, he still underestimated his Yunner. He really didn't know how many hidden abilities Xiao Yunner had. It was his great fortune to be able to obtain such an outstanding woman. It was just an accident. You don't have to say that. Xiao Yunner smiled. She felt rather guilty from Mo Yan's admiring gaze. She was not so powerful that she knew everything. She was just borrowing the knowledge of the 21st century. If it were not for the abilities of the 21st century, she was not even sure if she would have starved to death in this era. Madam, you're being too modest. Mo Yan smiled. Mu Lianfeng agreed very much. Mo Yan is right. Even if it was an accident, it's still Yun'er's ability. Chapter 877. Zhao Yun felt very helpless. Since that was the case, they could only worship her. Madam, what is this thing? Why is it so hard? Mo Yan asked curiously. After Mo Yan asked, Mu Lianfeng also looked at Zhao Yun curiously, waiting for Zhao Yun's answer. Zhao Yun saw that the master and servant were like curious cats, so she explained to them. This is steel. It's actually similar to iron, but it's much harder than iron. So when the iron knife smashed into it, it didn't have much of a reaction. Instead, the knife broke. Mu Lianfeng and Mo Yan nodded repeatedly. So this thing was called steel. They had never heard of it before. Madam, this thing called steel you're talking about, let alone our Tianhan kingdom, I don't think other countries have it either, Mo Yan said. What puzzled him was that he didn't even know how Zhao Yun knew about it and taught them how to refine it. Isn't that perfect? If our Tianhan kingdom uses this thing to make weapons, we'll have a much greater advantage than other countries in war. Yes, madam. If the emperor knows about this, he'll definitely be very happy. He'll reward you handsomely. Speaking of rewards, Mo Yan suddenly looked at Mu Lianfeng and said to Mu Lianfeng, Master, this idea was thought of by the madam. Why don't you report it to the emperor and ask him to reward the madam? If the emperor knows about it, he'll give the madam the title of county princess or princess. At that time, the madam's status will be different. Master, if you marry the madam, the old madam won't object. Mo Yan knew very well that the steel Zhao Yun made this time would have a great effect on weapons. It would directly affect the army's marching and fighting. It would increase the strength of the army of Tianhan Kingdom, and they would have a great advantage when fighting other countries. It had to be said that this was a great result. It wasn't impossible for the emperor to give Zhao Yun the title of county princess or princess. Mu Lianfeng listened to Mo Yan's words. What he said made sense. His grandmother valued her disciples the most. She was against him and Zhao Yun. That was because she looked down on Zhao Yun. She despised Zhao Yun for being just an ordinary little peasant girl. If Zhao Yun had been personally conferred the title of county princess by the emperor, then the situation would be very different. After a moment of silence, Mu Lianfeng said to Mo Yan, That's a good idea. I won't forget to reward you when we get back. Just tell me what you want. Mo Yan was overjoyed. She thought that her master had finally discovered her conscience for once. Master, this subordinate doesn't want much reward. I just hope to be able to eat madam's cooking often. That's the only thing I can't do. Mu Lianfeng curled his lower lip and said softly. Mo Yan looked at Mu Lianfeng gloomily. What kind of person was this? Why did he go back on his word? Just when Mo Yan wanted to complain, she heard Zhao Yun's pleasant voice, All right, Mu Lianfeng, just let him eat a little more. It's better than asking you for money. Let's save the money for Daodu's marriage in the future. Zhao Yun's words also amused Mu Lianfeng. Since Yun has said that, then let's do as Yun says. Mu Lianfeng finally had some free time after the matter of the weapons was resolved. He returned to the village with Zhao Yun. Chapter 878. This time, she brought her second cousin along with her to Sun City. Zhao Tianhu woke up early in the morning. He put on a set of new clothes and went to Sun City with Zhao Yun. After tidying up and dressing up, he put on a set of new clothes and shaved his face clean. Zhao Yun realized that her second cousin was quite good-looking. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes. The lines on his face were very distinct. Although he was not as delicate as Zhao Tianlong, he had the charm of a mature man. Zhao Tianlong and Zhao Tianhu were twin brothers. The reason why there was such a big difference was because Zhao Tianlong had been studying since he was young. Naturally, he had the temperament of a scholar. Because of his studies, Zhao Tianlong had never touched the farm work of old Zhao's family. Zhao Tianhu was the opposite. Zhao Tianhu had been working since he was young, and the work he did was all manual labor. After a long time, he developed muscles and looked very strong. After being exposed to the sun for a long time, Zhao Tianhu's skin was very dark. It was the kind of yellowish-black. There were two types of women, each with their own charms. However, Zhao Yun preferred the more manly type of man. In Zhao Yun's opinion, those delicate men were especially feminine. On the way, Zhao Yun sized up Zhao Tianhu, making Zhao Tianhu feel very shy and uncomfortable. Seeing that Zhao Tianhu's cheeks were stained with a touch of red, Zhao Yun continued to tease him. "Second cousin, you look really good today. You're different from usual." After being praised by Zhao Yun, Zhao Tianhu scratched his head shyly and said, "Sister Yun, don't tease me. What's there to be good-looking about me?" Zhao Tianhu had never heard anyone praise him for his good looks. Therefore, he felt that he was definitely not good-looking. He still had an elder brother above him. With his elder brother around, everyone who praised him was basically his elder brother. When compared to him, it was normal for him to be neglected. "Second cousin, I'm not laughing at you. What I said is the truth. You are very good-looking. If you don't believe me, you can ask my mother and sister-in-law Mulan." Liang Jinchao smiled and agreed, "Yeah, I didn't notice it before, but after dressing up a little today, I do look a lot better." "He looks quite handsome in our village," Mulan said. Zhao Tianhu's face turned even redder when he heard the words of the three women. "You think it's beautiful, but other people might not think so," Zhao Tianhu said timidly. The other person he was referring to was naturally the girl he was going on a blind date with today. It could be seen that Zhao Tianhu was still a little nervous. It was normal for him to have this kind of reaction. After all, it was his marriage. Zhao Tianhu hadn't had much contact with girls before. This was the first time he was meeting a strange girl. Seeing that Zhao Tianhu was nervous, Zhao Yun comforted him. "Second cousin, be confident. Don't be too nervous. Think about it. You're not bad-looking. We all think you're good-looking. Women like you should have the same taste. She must also think you're good-looking." Being comforted by Zhao Yun, Zhao Tianhu felt a little better. "Really? Of course. Second cousin, why would we lie to you?" Chapter 879. In Zhao Yun's eyes, he looked exceptionally adorable. Actually, her second cousin was quite adorable. It was just that she hadn't interacted much with him in the past. On the way, Zhao Tianhu was both nervous and expectant. Soon, they arrived at Yang City. They arrived rather early, so there weren't many people around. The blind date had to wait for a while. When Zhao Tianhu arrived, he didn't idle around. Instead, he helped Zhao Yun with her work. He was much more diligent than the others. He was such a hardworking, kind, and honest man. Actually, it wouldn't be bad to marry such a man. Her eldest aunt had arranged Zhao Tianhu's marriage for him. She was concerned about her cousin, but she couldn't possibly get involved and help her cousin arrange his marriage, right? If this blind date failed, then this marriage would fall through. She wanted to discuss with Mulan to matchmake Mu Hin and Zhao Tianhu. Both of them were honest and hardworking people, so they would definitely be able to spend their days together. Although her eldest aunt wasn't a good person, she was good to her son and daughter-in-law. If Mu Hin married over, she wouldn't have to suffer. Zhao Yunhe was just thinking about it. She didn't know the specifics. She would wait and see. If Zhao Tianhu's marriage was successful, then she wouldn't have to continue worrying about it. The morning stall was busy. Business was a little slower than before because Yili still didn't come. It had been 2 days. It seemed that something had really happened. Zhao Yunhe was worried. This guy was alone without his family. Could he have fallen sick? Caught a cold? If that was the case, then he would still have someone to take care of him. It was a pity that Zhao Yun didn't know where Yili lived. Otherwise, she could check to see if something had happened to him. Zhao Yun'er set up the stall while chatting with Zhao Yun'er. What Liang Jinqiao was worried about now was Zhao Ping's wedding. As the day approached, there were many things that needed to be done. Mother, didn't the family Qin say that they would send betrothal gifts? Why haven't they sent them yet? Zhao Yun'er asked in confusion. Liang Jinqiao shook his head and said, I'm not sure about that either. There's no reply from them. As a woman, I don't think it's appropriate for her to ask, right? Mother, could it be that he doesn't want to marry Ping and went back? Zhao Yun'er asked worriedly. Liang Jinqiao frowned. No. No way. Mother, there's nothing wrong with that. According to the etiquette, their family should be here. Well, if they don't want to marry Ping, they should at least send us a message in advance, Guning said. It's impossible for them not to say a word. Zhao Yun'er frowned. I don't know. I hope not. After all, our families have already made an agreement. It's not easy for them to go back on their words. Yes. Liang Jinqiao answered with a thoughtful expression. The truth was somewhat similar to what Zhao Yun had guessed. The reason why the family Qin hadn't sent the betrothal gifts to the third branch yet was that the Qin Yuan had a quarrel with the family. In the 21st century, it was called premarital phobia. After all, Zhao Ping's appearance was truly too ugly. As long as a man saw that face, he would probably be extremely disgusted. Chapter 880. Therefore, Qin Yuan threw a tantrum and said that he would not marry a woman like Zhao Ping. Hearing Qin Yuan say such words, the most anxious people were the Qin couple. Because they had a good agreement with Zhao Yun's family, if they were to go back on their word, they would definitely come over to reason with them. This was not a small matter. It was related to the girl's reputation. If Zhao Yun's family wanted to compensate, how could they afford it? In addition, Zhao Yun's family was related to the current heir apparent. As ordinary people, they could not afford to offend them. The only solution now was to marry Zhao Ping. According to the agreement with Zhao Yun's family, they could not go back on their word. Mu Chunfang earnestly persuaded Qin Yuan, I know that Ping is a little ugly, but our family has already made a promise. How can we go back on our word? This is not child's play. Qin Yuan's face was bitter. He looked at Mu Chunfang pitifully and said, Mother, I really can't take it anymore. Zhao Ping is so ugly. When I think of her appearance, I can't help but want to vomit. After Qin Yuan finished speaking, the fool Qin Chuan at the side echoed, so ugly that I want to vomit. So ugly that I want to vomit. Mother, look at how ugly Zhao Ping is. Even a fool like Big Brother knows that she is ugly. If I were to marry such an ugly woman, who knows how many people in the village would laugh at me. Mu Chunfang sighed heavily and said, Yuan, her mother knows. But our family is so poor. If you can't find a wife, people will laugh at you even more. Don't you think so? At this time, Qin Dahai walked over and said to Qin Yuan with a serious face, this marriage must be done. Yuan, you are not young anymore. You are not a child anymore. Do you think this is a game? If you don't get married, the Qin family will be the ones to lose face if they come to our house and cause trouble. If people find out what's going on, I reckon that no one will dare to marry into our family in the future. Who knows if our family's words still count? After Qin Dahai finished speaking, Mu Chunfang agreed, Yuan, your father is right. The village is not that big, and our family is not far from the Zhao family. Some words will spread back to the village and ruin our family Qin's reputation. Qin Yuan listened and remained silent. This was his fault. He should have said it earlier. At that time, the two families hadn't reached an agreement yet, so there was still a chance to regret it. Now, there wasn't even a chance to regret it. Seeing his son in so much pain, Mu Chunfang comforted him, Yuan, actually, it is fine if you marry her. You don't have to marry Ping. Your older brother is a fool. Why don't you let Ping be your wife too? We have many shared wives anyway. Mother, is this okay? Qin Yuan listened to Mu Chunfang's words and asked excitedly. Of course it is okay. Our family did not say whether you will marry her alone or both of you. Mother, with big brother like this, does he know how to do that? Qin Yuan asked worriedly. Mu Chunfang smiled and said, why not? It is not difficult. You can ask your father to teach him later. Although your brother is a fool, there are some things that he learns very quickly. Qin Yuan nodded his head. That's true. Chapter 881. Yes, Mother. You're right. Our family is too poor. We have to rely on that ugly woman to make our lives better. We can't live such a hard life all the time. Qin Yuan was a little scared of living such a life of not having enough to eat. Thinking of Zhao Yun's food, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Yuan, when our family is really rich, Mother will marry a beautiful wife for you. What do you think? After being coaxed by Mu Chunfang, Qin Yuan nodded his head even harder. Mother, okay. Then I'll marry Zhao Ping. Seeing that Qin Yuan was finally convinced, Mu Chunfang breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. Her son was so stubborn these 2 days because he didn't want to be with Zhao Ping. As a result, she didn't dare to send out the betrothal gifts. Now that Qin Yuan agreed, she could choose a time to send the betrothal gifts to Zhao family in these 2 days. There were only a few days left before the wedding. Zhao Yun and Liang Jinqiao talked about other things. Because of Zhao Ping's marriage, the third branch received a lot of betrothal gifts this time. Except for the relatives, most of the betrothal gifts were from the neighbors in the village. Even the neighbors who didn't have much contact with them in the past sent them betrothal gifts. In fact, the reason why the villagers were so enthusiastic was because of Mu Lianfeng's identity. After all, the third branch had a relationship with Lord Shizi. It was not for the third branch's sake, but for Lord Shizi's sake, they had to send some betrothal gifts to the third branch. If they ran into trouble in the future and needed help, it wouldn't be too embarrassing for them to ask. Mother, has our second aunt sent the betrothal gifts? Zhao Yun asked. All the other relatives came to their house. It seemed that only her second aunt hadn't come yet. Zhao Yun asked. Her second aunt knew that Zhao Ping was going to get married. There was no reason for her not to give the wedding money. Speaking of this, Liang Jinqiao shook his head and said, No, your second aunt didn't come. Maybe she was delayed by something at home. Liang Jinchao always thought too highly of others, but at the end of the day, it was because she was kind-hearted. However, Zhao Yuner did not think so. Zhao Yuner snorted softly, "Mother, I think it's not that second aunt doesn't have time. She just doesn't want to come over and give us the money. Even if she's really busy, she can find someone to bring it over, right? That can't be. Your second aunt wouldn't do that. She knows the ways of the world. Maybe he doesn't want to deal with us anymore because he had a fight with us and suffered a loss here." Zhao Yuner guessed. If that was the case, she wouldn't want to deal with people like Liang Jinfin. But, we're relatives after all. She won't ruin our relationship like this, right? I don't know. Given second aunt's character, she might really do that. Hearing Zhao Yuner's words, Liang Jinchao sighed heavily and didn't know what to say. "Mother, how much betrothal gifts did you give second aunt when my cousin got married?" 88 copper coins. What's wrong? Liang Jinchao asked with confusion. He didn't know why Zhao Yuner suddenly asked this question. 88 copper coins. That's a lot. It was enough to buy several kilograms of meat. Thinking about it, her parents were really generous. They actually gave her 88 copper coins. Chapter 882. Zhao Yun couldn't accept it. She didn't like to be taken advantage of, so she had to get back at them. Therefore, Zhao Yun said to Liang Jinchao, "Mother, I think we should inform second aunt's family one last time. I don't believe that she won't give it to us." Liang Jinchao sighed and said, "Yun, forget it. It's actually not that much money." Liang Jinchao acted like a peacemaker again. Zhao Yun insisted, "Mother, don't be like this all the time. It's not good to be taken advantage of. I have my own arrangements for this matter." Liang Jinchao sighed and replied, "All right then. Yun, as long as you know that we won't go too far." "I know, Mother." Zhao Yun couldn't stand Liang Jinchao's nagging in her ear. After a while, they saw a middle-aged woman with a 7 or 8-year-old boy and a 16 or 17-year-old girl come to look at her family stall. When they came over, the middle-aged woman said to Zhao Yun and Liang Jinchao, "You're from the Zhao family, right? We agreed that the two children would meet each other, so I brought my daughter here." Zhao Yun looked up at the woman and smiled at her. "Aunt, please sit in the stall. This is my second cousin. He's here to have a blind date with your daughter." Zhao Yun knew that Zhao Tianhu was going to have a blind date, so she specially left a table for them to sit down and chat. She couldn't let them just stand there. Zhou Damei smiled and replied, Okay, sit down and chat." Haha. Zhou Damei's face was full of smiles, and she looked very happy. Then, Zhou Damei pulled the girl aside and said to the girl, "Ju, come on in. Why are you standing there like a wooden stake?" The girl called Ju's real name was Jean Ju. As soon as she came over, she lowered her head and didn't raise it, so Zhao Yun didn't see what the girl looked like. Although she was curious, Zhao Yun didn't keep staring at her. Seeing that Jean Ju didn't raise her head, she thought that it might be because it was her first blind date, so she was shy. After being greeted by Zhou Damei, Jean Ju answered timidly, "Okay." As she spoke, Zhou Damei brought her son and daughter to sit down. Zhao Yun asked her second cousin, Zhao Tianhu, not to help with the work and quickly go on a blind date to have a chat. Under Zhao Yun's persuasion, Zhao Tianhu shyly sat at the table. "Mother, let's send some food up," Zhao Yun urged. Since they sat down, they had to serve them some food. They couldn't be too shabby and say that they were stingy. Zhao Yun sent 4 bowls of wonton, 2 steamers of xilongbao, and 1 steamer of shumai. She also sent some fried dumplings and meat buns. Zhou Damei had never eaten so much delicious food at once, so she quickly ate. Bao, this wonton soup, mother will blow on it for you. Eat it later. However, Jin Bao anxiously muttered, but mother, I'm hungry. If you're hungry, eat something else first. Come, have a meat bun first. Then, Zhou Damei took a meat bun and stuffed it into Jin Bao's hand, beckoning Jin Bao to eat. As for whether Jin Ju ate or not, she didn't care at all. She wasn't in the mood to worry about this, so she just ate by herself. Chapter 883. Zhu Eru sat down nervously and glanced at Jin Ju shyly. He found that Jin Ju lowered her head and didn't touch the bowl and chopsticks in front of her. Zhu Eru couldn't see what Jin Ju looked like. He could only see Jin Ju's thin and weak body. Jin Ju was really very thin. The loose clothes on her body didn't seem to hold up at all. It was precisely her frail appearance that made one's heart ache. Zhao Tianhu couldn't help but say to Jin Ju, "Well, why don't you eat? You must be hungry, right? Have some. It's hot and comfortable to eat." Zhao Tianhu's deep voice sounded in Jin Chui's ears. Jin Chui's ears turned red, but she still didn't raise her head. Hearing Zhao Tianhu's words, Zhou Damei glanced at Jin Ju and said with some displeasure, "You little girl, are you mute? She's talking to you. Why are you ignoring her?" Being reprimanded by Zhou Damei, Jin Ju's body trembled in fear. Then she answered in a trembling voice, "Oh." Jin Ju's reaction angered Zhou Damei even more. Zhou Damei couldn't help but grumble, "I'm really going to be angered to death by you, you wretched girl. You're like a dead person all day long. When I talk to you, all you do is ah and n. Can't you say anything? If I didn't know better, I would think that I raised a mute daughter." Jin Ju was silent for a while, and finally said, "Mother, I know." Jin Ju's appearance made Zhao Tianhu even more distressed. He thought that this girl was really pitiful. A mother like Zhou Damei seemed to be a little fierce. No wonder Jin Chui was afraid of her. So Zhao Tianhu couldn't help but defend her. "Auntie, don't scold her. Maybe it's the first time we've met today, so she's a little nervous." Zhou Damei understood the situation clearly, so she naturally wouldn't continue to be angry in front of Zhao Tianhu. She smiled and said to Zhao Tianhu, "You're really considerate." Zhao Tianan blushed at the compliment. "It's my pleasure." With that, Zhao Tianhu took out a steamed bun and handed it to Jin Ju. He said softly to Jin Ju, "Come, eat. Don't be afraid. I don't eat people." Zhao Tianhu's words warmed Jin Ju's heart. There had never been anyone who cared about her like this. In fact, she was very disgusted and repulsed by this blind date. She felt that Zhou Damei had randomly arranged a marriage for her. Because Zhou Damei was not her biological mother, but her stepmother. It was said that stepmothers were cruel and merciless. Her stepmother was also not good to her. She often beat and scolded her and made her work. Even if she were to find a husband for her, she would definitely find someone who could give her a good wedding gift, no matter what the man was like. She didn't want her fate to be arranged like this. She didn't want to casually find someone to marry. That would be her happiness for the rest of her life. The first half of her life was miserable enough, and she didn't want to continue to be miserable for the rest of her life. But she didn't expect that the man who came to the blind date today seemed to be very good. He also cared about her a lot. She actually didn't feel any repulsion in her heart. "Thank you." Jin Ju took the steamed bun handed over by Zhao Tianhu and thanked him. "You're welcome." Seeing that Jin Ju was still eating with her head down, Zhou Damei couldn't stand it anymore. She reprimanded Jin Ju, I asked you to come over to see what the man looks like. Let him see you too. You keep your head down, how can he see you? Chapter 884. Of course, Zhou Damei was not oblivious to how vulgar her words were. Jinju's body trembled, and then she raised her head. Zhao Tianhu looked at Jinju curiously. The girl in front of him was young and inexperienced. She looked quite cute with a pair of canine teeth. She was very likable. Zhao Tianhu took a liking to Jinju at first glance. If he could marry this girl, he would definitely be willing. Jinju also could not help but glance at Zhao Tianan. She found that Zhao Tianan was actually quite good-looking, which was beyond her expectations. She thought that he would be very old and ugly. Without a doubt, Jinju was also very satisfied with Zhao Tianan's appearance and temperament. The two of them looked at each other for a few seconds, then looked away in embarrassment. Their ears were even redder. Zhao Yunhe was busy attending to the stall. As for Jin Chui and Zhao Tianhu's matters, she could not divert her attention to worry about them. Zhou Damei was almost done eating, then she began to ask questions here and there to further understand the situation. When she heard Zhao Tianhu say that her brother, Zhao Tianlong, had actually gone to the capital to study, she also felt that Zhao Tianlong could pass the exam. This way, when Zhao Tianlong became an official in the future, Jinju would be able to marry him, and their family would be able to live a good life together. Zhou Damei was very satisfied with Zhao Tianhu's family's conditions. As for the following matters, the two families would have to discuss in detail. There were a lot of things that Zhao Yunhe brought up, and Zhou Damei finally stuffed all of them into her stomach. Finally, she let out a loud burp. Today's meal was really satisfying. That's about it. You two have seen it. I'll take Ju to buy some more things and then go back. Zhou Damei stood up and said goodbye. Zhao Tianhu responded, Auntie, take care on the road. I know. Zhao Yunhe walked over and also said, Auntie, take care. You guys go ahead. I'll come over next time when I'm in Shangyang City. Zhou Damei smiled. When Zhen Hao was about to leave, Jinju stood still. Zhou Damei looked at Jinju with a puzzled expression and asked, What's wrong with you? Why aren't you leaving? Haven't you seen enough? When Zhou Damei said that she had not seen enough, she meant that she had not seen enough of Zhao Tianhu, implying that Jinju was shameless. Zhou Damei's words made Zhao Tianhu's face redden even more. In fact, he was reluctant to let Jinju go, but there was no reason to make her stay. Jinju's face sank and she bit her lower lip. Finally, she said to Zhou Damei, Mother, we ate so much. Are we just going to leave like this? Do we have to pay before we leave? After Jinju finished speaking, Zhou Damei was stunned. Then, she scolded in a low voice, You damned girl, what nonsense are you talking about? They had spent a lot of money to eat so much. If they were to pay, how much would they have to pay? Could it be that this wretched girl's brain was damaged? If he had finished eating, then so be it. Why did he have to mention it and specially pay for it? Mom, we've eaten so much. Shouldn't we pay for it? I haven't married him yet. How can I take advantage of him? Jinju lowered her head and said weakly. This sentence almost made Zhou Damei die of anger. Chapter 885. Who wouldn't take advantage of others? Saying that, Zhou Damei pinched Jinju's body again to vent her anger. She didn't feel sorry for Jinju at all. She looked at Jinju as if she wanted to eat Jinju alive. Jinju bit her lower lip in pain. After taking a deep breath, tears welled up in her eyes, but she forced herself to hold them back. Jean-ju had already gotten used to this situation. Anyway, it wasn't the first time that she was beaten and treated like this by Zhou Damei. After being beaten and scolded by Zhou Damei like this, Jean-ju didn't give in. Instead, she stood in front of Zhou Damei with a determined face and continued to say, "Mother, I think we should pay. There's no reason not to pay." Jean-ju deliberately raised her voice to let Zhao Yun and Zhao Tianhu hear it. In this way, Zhou Damei would feel embarrassed to not pay and directly walk away. Zhou Damei felt that there was a mouthful of blood in her chest. She almost spat it out because of Jean-ju. What's wrong with this wicked girl today? After Jean-ju finished her words, Zhou Damei's face darkened even more. You wicked girl, you're really turning the world upside down. I'll deal with you slowly when we get home. Zhou Damei snorted softly in Jean-ju's ear. If she didn't teach her a lesson when they got home, she wouldn't know her limits. It was true that if she hadn't been beaten for 3 days, she would naturally become obedient after being taught a lesson. After Jean-ju finished her words, Zhao Tianhu stared at Jean-ju in a daze. For some reason, when he saw Jean-ju's thin and determined appearance, his heart ached instead. Because of Jean-ju's words, Zhao Yun also looked at Jean-ju curiously. This girl gave her a different feeling, and she suddenly had a good impression of her. However, looking at Zhou Damei, Zhao Yun knew that Zhou Damei didn't want to pay. Of course, Zhao Yun and Zhao Tianhu never intended to let her pay. When Jean-ju and Zhou Damei were in a deadlock, Zhao Yun said, "No need. My aunt told me to take care of my stall. She has already paid, so you don't have to pay." Zhao Tianhu regained his senses and smiled at Jean-ju. "Yes, you don't have to pay. Today is the first time we've met, the man has to do something. There's no reason for the woman to spend money." Zhou Damei's originally dark face suddenly brightened up. "Tianhu, you're such a filial child. Help me tell your mother that we thank her for her hospitality. We're very satisfied with today's meal." After Zhou Damei finished speaking, she poked Jean-ju who was beside her and said, "Stupid girl, did you hear that? She said that she didn't need to pay, so why are you taking out the money so diligently? Do you think our family is living a good life? Do you know that it's not easy for your father to earn money, and your brother still has to study? Our family has plenty of places to spend money." Jean-ju thought that perhaps Zhao Tianhu and Zhao Yun knew that Zhou Damei wouldn't pay, so they said this to resolve the awkwardness. "Mother, that's not good. If you don't pay, then don't pay. When I earn money myself, I'll come back and pay you back. Today's money is what I owe." After Jean-ju finished speaking, she turned and left. Zhou Damei was stunned on the spot. She was almost angered to death by Jean-ju's words. Incredible, the sky was really turned upside down. Zhou Damei couldn't flare up now. After all, there were still people watching. If someone familiar saw this, they would definitely say that her stepmother was ruthless. She was ruthless to her own daughter. Chapter 886. Zhou Damei forced a smile at Zhao Yun and Zhao Tianan. Her smile was very hard and forced. "Well, I'll go back with my Jew first. We'll talk about the marriage between our two families later." "Okay, Auntie." Zhao Tianhu responded politely. Zhao Yun stepped forward and said, "Take care, Auntie. I won't see you off." "No need to see me off, no need to see me off. Your family's business is so busy. Go do your business." After saying that, Zhou Damei dragged the little boy beside her and ran away. Not far away, Zhao Yun vaguely heard Zhou Damei's sharp scolding. "Jean-ju, you wretched girl. Slow down. I'll teach you a lesson when we get home." You even gave me money. Where did you get the money? If you can really earn money, don't you know how to keep it for your family's use? What's the meaning of returning it to others? Little bitch, if I don't teach you a lesson, your skin will itch. After Zhao Yun heard Zhou Damei's scolding words, the corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. What kind of person was this? Another big weirdo. Zhao Yun ridiculed, but she didn't have deep contact with Zhou Damei, so it wasn't difficult to understand. If it was just about being greedy, it would be fine. After all, there were many women of this age in the countryside who were greedy. She was afraid that Zhou Damei had other strange things that she didn't know. Zhao Yun turned around and saw Zhao Tianhu continue to look in the direction of Jin Ju's departure, worry between his brows. Zhao Yun asked with a smile, "Second cousin, she's gone far. What are you still looking at?" "Haha, since you're so reluctant to marry her, you can take your time and look at her every day." After being teased by Zhao Yun Zhao Tianhu's face was dyed with a touch of red. "Yun don't laugh at me. It's not even close." "Haha, second cousin, what's not even close?" "It's obviously very possible. What do you think? Are you satisfied with this girl?" Speaking of that, Zhao Tianhu blushed. What's wrong, second cousin? Are you embarrassed?" "No, it's not." "Then, second cousin, are you satisfied or not?" Under Zhao Yun's interrogation, Zhao Tianhu finally nodded and said, "I think it's good." "Ha, second cousin, it's good that you're satisfied. Later, I can ask Big Aunt to help you talk about the marriage." Seeing Zhao Tianhu so shy, Zhao Yun felt that if she said a few more words, Zhao Tianhu would dig a hole and hide in it. From Zhao Tianhu's reaction, Zhao Yun could also guess that Zhao Tianhu was very satisfied with Jin Ju. Jin Ju was not bad, but Zhou Damei was a little weird. At around 10 p.m., Zhao Yun started to clean up the stall. She went to the stall to buy some things and went back. "Yun, Mr. Yi hasn't been here for 2 days. What happened?" Zhao Yun shook her head. "I don't know. Sigh, if Mr. Yi has something to do and left, he should at least inform us, right? It's quite worrying." Mulan sighed softly as she spoke. "Sister-in-law Mulan, what are you talking about? He has nothing to do with us, so he doesn't have to explain anything to us. Maybe he left Yang City." Zhao Yun guessed in her heart. She was just comforting Mulan so that she wouldn't be too worried. Mulan thought that it made sense. Yi Li and they were just strangers who had met by chance, so there was no need for him to explain anything. Chapter 887. The worry in Mulan's heart dissipated and was replaced by a faint sadness. After all, Yi Li had been with them for a period of time. Naturally, they would have feelings for each other. Although she had not spoken much with Yi Li and had not interacted much, they still had feelings for each other when they saw each other every day. "Ah, it's good that you're fine. We don't know when Sir Yi will be back. Our stall still needs beauties to serve as a signboard. Business has obviously been a lot worse these 2 days." Mulan sighed. Zhao Yun could not help but laugh. "Sister-in-law Mulan, why don't you ask Brother Era to come over and serve as a signboard for our stall?" Mulan blushed slightly and looked coquettishly at Zhao Yun. "Forget it, Yun, don't make fun of me. My Era's looks are only average. It's not enough to attract young ladies. But the Crown Prince can. Why don't you ask him to come over? He doesn't have time for that." "That's true. The Crown Prince is busy with business. He doesn't have time to waste like us." As the two of them chatted, the stall was already tidied up. The few of them went to the market together. Zhao Yun still had to buy more meat. When they arrived at the stall, they saw two familiar figures from afar. One was her youngest aunt and the other was her cousin, Su Zhaodi. When Zhao Yun first saw them, the corners of her mouth turned up. Just nice. Now that she had bumped into her second aunt, she could remind her about the gift money. Their family could not lose out. When Zhao Yunhe walked closer, she heard Liang Jinfin and Su Zhaodi say, "Zhaodi, you're pregnant. You have to nourish your body well. As long as you give birth to a son, your status in the Huang family will be stable." Su Zhaodi stood beside Liang Jinfin and nodded. "Yes, mother. I know. I will work hard and give birth to a son. That way, my eldest sister-in-law won't be able to say anything about me." A woman's position in her husband's family had a lot to do with having children. Her sister-in-law, Yang Qing, went back and complained about her to her in-laws. Naturally, she was scolded by her in-laws. Because of this, she was ignored by the Huang family for a while. If this continued, he might really lose his favor. Right now, the only thing that could make her in-laws change their attitude towards her slightly was to give birth to a boy for the Huang family. After the Huang family had her, their attitude towards her would naturally improve greatly. In addition, her two sisters-in-law had not given birth to a boy. If she gave birth to a boy this time, he would be the Huang family's only golden grandson. Of course. If you can give birth to a son, who will be able to shake your position in the Huang family? In the future, you can order your sister-in-law around for anything. Hearing Liang Jinfin's words, Su Zhaodi was elated. "Mother, I also want to have a son, but is the one in my stomach a son? What if it's a girl?" Liang Jinfin stared at Su Zhaodi's stomach and comforted her. "Zhaodi, don't worry. It's definitely a boy in your stomach." "Mother, how can you be so sure?" Liang Jinfin chuckled. "Of course I know. I have given birth to a few children. I even asked a lot of people. Giving birth to a boy or a girl's stomach is different. A boy's stomach is round and big, just like yours." These words calmed Su Zhaodi's heart a lot. "Mother, that's good. If I can give birth to a boy, our third branch's life in the Huang family will be much better." "Of course. It's best if your eldest and second sisters-in-law can't give birth to a boy. Then, the Huang family's assets will all be yours." Chapter 888. The more they talked, the more excited they became. They were full of anticipation for the future. "That's why, Zhaodi, you have to nourish your body more. Eat better and your milk will be better in the future. It'll be easier for you to give birth then," Liang Jinfin said lovingly. "It's fine if your in-laws don't fork out the money. I still have some private money to buy meat for you. I'll stew it for you secretly after I buy it. Even if they catch you, it's fine. It's my money anyway. No one can do anything about it." Su Zhaodi looked at Liang Jinfin, touched. "Mother, you're still the best to me. When I have money in the future, I'll be filial to you." Su Zhaodi's words made Liang Jinfin happy. She was counting on her daughters for the rest of her life. Now, it seemed that Su Zhaodi was the most reliable. After all, Su Zhaodi was going to marry into the richest family. Liang Jinfin called out to the owner of the meat stall and asked her to cut a catty of meat. "Ah, this pork liver looks good. Boss, I bought a catty of pork. Can you give me some pork liver?" Liang Jinfin stared at the half-piece of pork liver on the stall and looked at it greedily. The owner of the meat stall was not happy. "Sister-in-law, this pork liver costs Lu Wenqian a catty. It's not cheap. You bought a catty of pork and I gave it to you. There are so many people coming to buy it. If I give it to all of them, I don't have to sell meat anymore." Liang Jinfin pursed her lips and continued, "Ah, you can't say that. People come to buy it early in the morning and the meat is still fresh. I came in the afternoon. If you don't give it to me, you won't be able to sell it. If you wait until tomorrow, you probably won't be able to sell it for a good price. The owner of the meat stall looked at Liang Jinfen speechlessly. How could there be such a person? Most people wouldn't say anything in such a situation, right? But she was still shameless enough to ask for it. This was the first time he had seen such a weirdo. The owner of the meat stall opened his mouth and replied calmly, "It's my business whether I can sell the liver or not. You don't have to worry about it. But I definitely can't give you the liver. A caddy of meat can't be sold for much money. If you give me so much, I might as well not sell it at all." Liang Jinfen was instantly unhappy. "Why are you like this? I sell meat at other stalls and they sometimes give me free meat." The owner of the meat stall waved his hand and said, "All right then, go buy it from another stall." The eyes of the owner of the meat stall seemed to be saying, "Hurry up and leave. The further you go, the better. Don't come and harm me." You, Liang Jinfen pointed at the butcher angrily, but Su Xiaodi tugged at his sleeve. "Mother, forget it. Let's not take it." Forget it. Let's go to another meat stall. If I don't buy it from this shop, I can't buy it from this shop even if they don't give it to me. I just don't want to earn money for her. With that, Liang Jinfen turned around and left in a huff. The owner of the meat stall was speechless. What kind of person is this? He had been selling meat for a long time, but he had never seen such a weirdo before. Zhao Yun heard their conversation from afar and couldn't help complaining in her heart. She was indeed a weirdo. Wasn't she afraid of being beaten by others? If she was the owner of the meat stall, she would definitely go up and slap her face to see if she was still so arrogant. Chapter 889. Hearing Zhao Yun'er's business, Liang Jinfen and Su Xiaodi both turned to look at Zhao Yun'er. When they saw Zhao Yun'er, they didn't seem very happy. Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong? Aunt, cousin, why do you have such a reaction when you see me?" Liang Jinfen and Su Xiaodi's mouths twitched a few times. They couldn't help but complain in their hearts. Zhao Yun is really... She still has the nerve to ask. Doesn't she remember what she did before? There was a saying that one shouldn't slap a smiling face. Zhao Yun'er was like this, so Liang Jinfen and Su Xiaodi couldn't treat her coldly. The corners of Zhao Yun'er's mouth curled up. She smiled and continued to ask, "Second aunt, cousin, you won't still care about me now, right?" Liang Jinfen smiled embarrassedly. "Of course not." Zhao Yun'er's smile grew wider. "That's great." Su Xiaodi's face darkened. She pulled Liang Jinfen's hand. "Yun'er, my mother and I are going to buy meat to eat. We'll talk to you next time when we have time." Zhao Yun'er wouldn't let them leave so easily. She immediately said, "Cousin, why are you in such a hurry? There's plenty of meat in the meat stall." Su Xiaodi was struck dumb for a second. She didn't know what to say. What did Zhao Yun'er want to do? "Little girl Yun'er, what's there to talk about? If you have something to say, just say it. After that, your cousin and I can leave. We still have to cook when we get back. There's something." Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but sneer. "Aunt, no matter how anxious you are, you don't have to rush to cook, do you?" "Well, Yun'er, just tell me what you want to tell me." "My Xiaodi is pregnant. She can't stand for too long, or she'll be tired. Now that we're done shopping, we can go back and rest." Zhao Yun'er's sneer deepened. It seemed like this aunt of hers was really avoiding her. She even avoided her when she saw her. He wasn't willing to stay for such a short period of time. If that's the case, then second aunt, I can't disturb you too much, right? Second aunt, actually, I just want to tell you something. What is it? Liang Jinfen asked. Second aunt, did you know that Sister Ping is getting married? Liang Jinfen nodded and said, I know, of course I know. Didn't you tell your mother about this? I know. With little Ping's looks, it's her good fortune to be married off. After Liang Jinfen finished speaking, he realized that he had gone overboard. Unfortunately, she couldn't take back what she had said, so she simply shut her mouth and waited to see Zhao Yun's attitude. At this moment, Liang Jinchao walked over and called out to Liang Jinfen, second sister. Liang Jinfen smiled as a form of greeting. Zhao Yuner said, second aunt, since you know, why haven't you sent the money to my family? Eldest uncle, second uncle, and youngest aunt have all sent money. Only second aunt hasn't sent money to your family. Liang Jinfen's expression changed slightly. Originally, she really didn't plan to send money, but she didn't expect Zhao Yuner to actually bring it up. Now that she brought it up, she naturally couldn't refuse. Especially when her eldest sister was standing next to her. They were biological sisters, so it wasn't good to fall out with her. If this matter was exposed, she would definitely be the one to be criticized. Liang Jinfen was now full of complaints about Zhao Yuner in his heart. Why was this little b*tch so difficult to deal with? Chapter 890. Zhao Yuner sneered in her heart. How could her aunt have the nerve to say that she forgot? How bad was her memory? Seeing Zhao Yuner staring at him with a faint smile, Liang Jinfen felt that he had been seen through, and felt very guilty. Then Zhao Yun said with a smile, Aunt, after all, it's Sister Ping's wedding. My mother gave her 88 copper coins as a wedding gift, so you can't give her less. Aunt, your family is so rich. I'm sure you won't be stingy with such a small amount of money, right? After Zhao Yun finished speaking, Liang Jinfen's face became more unpleasant. He couldn't pretend to be smiling anymore, and his whole face was very stiff. Zhao Yun wasn't embarrassed at all. Anyway, she had to treat people like Liang Jinfen this way. She wanted to see whether Liang Jinfen would be shameless enough to only give her 20 copper coins as a wedding gift like her uncle's. Liang Jinfen bit his lower lip, and there was anger in his eyes. This wretched lass was truly formidable. Could it be that she could even guess what she was thinking in her heart? Well. Yun what are you talking about? Is your aunt the kind of person you're talking about? Of course not. That's good. I know you're not stingy. Your family is rich, so you can buy pork often. Ordinary people won't be willing to buy pork to eat. Liang Jinfen wanted to smile at Zhao Yun but in the end, his expression was even uglier than crying. Thinking of her money, his heart ached. Isn't it because your cousin needs to nourish her body? No matter how poor she is, she's willing to spend such a small amount of money. Aunt, you're right. My cousin needs to nourish her body. She still needs to give birth to a son. Zhao Yun's words were a little sarcastic. A son, a son. She only cared about her son all day. She was curious whether Liang Jinfen's face would be very ugly if Su Zhaodi gave birth to a baby girl. Yeah. Yun I'm leaving with your cousin. Liang Jinfen said. She was afraid that if she stayed any longer, Zhao Yun would say something bad again, and she would be taken advantage of again. Zhao Yun smiled, and didn't urge her to stay this time. Aunt, you can go now. Sure. When the owner of the meat stall saw Zhao Yun came over, he smiled at Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun was also not polite. Thank you, boss. Give me another gene of meat. All right. the owner of the meat stall said with a smile. Liang Jinfen and Su Xiaodi didn't walk far. Hearing what the owner of the meat stall said, Liang Jinfen couldn't help but turn back and argue with the owner of the meat stall. How can you be like this? Didn't you say that you don't need to give a gift when you buy meat? When I bought it, you didn't give me any. Why did you give it to someone else? What's wrong with you? Liang Jinfen's voice was very loud. It was obvious that he was going to cause trouble. The someone else Liang Jinfen was talking about was Xiao Yun. Chapter 891. Liang Jinfen knew that he didn't have the money to buy so much, so he glared at the butcher angrily. You're being unreasonable. The butcher was also angry. He wasn't a punching bag, so how could he let an unreasonable person make a scene? You're saying that I'm being unreasonable? Who's the unreasonable one? Seriously. Should I call someone over to judge? I've been doing business for so many years, but I've never seen someone like this. This is really interesting. The owner of the meat stall was also muttering a lot. At this time, many people came over and began to watch what was going on. After figuring out what was going on, they began to mock and ridicule. I've seen thick-skinned people before, but I've never seen such a thick-skinned person. This was a new level of thick-skinned. After being ridiculed by the crowd, Liang Jinfen's face turned red with anger. Su Xiaodi couldn't stand it anymore. She felt uncomfortable being stared at like this. Most importantly, they were all in Yang City, so it was very likely that people familiar with them would see them. If people found out, they would definitely nag at her in-laws again. Her in-laws would definitely be unhappy and scold her again. Therefore, Su Xiaodi went forward and pulled Liang Jinfen away. Mom, forget it. It's just some pig liver. Don't fight, we can just buy it ourselves. Liang Jinfen grumbled in his heart. Xiaodi, it's different. You have to pay to buy it, but you don't have to pay if you give it to us for free. Su Xiaodi saw that Liang Jinfen didn't want to leave, so she said to Liang Jinfen, Mom, it's just 3 wens. We don't have to quarrel over 3 wens. Liang Jinfen was a little unwilling to give up. Alright, Xiaodi, I'll listen to you. Let's go, Mom. Let's go back. Okay. Looking at Liang Jinfen and Su Xiaodi, both mother and daughter, leaving dejectedly, Xiao Yun suddenly felt refreshed. Only people who were more powerful than them could deal with such a weirdo. After shopping, Xiao Yun and Liang Jinqiao returned to the village. On the way, he met a woman. Liang Jinqiao knew this woman. It was none other than Li Chuiying's mother, Mrs. Li. Old Madam Li walked on the road, panting. Looking at her, it seemed that she couldn't walk anymore. When Liang Jinqiao saw her, he called out to her, Auntie, are you looking for my second sister-in-law? Old Madam Li turned around and stared at Liang Jinqiao with her cloudy eyes. She smiled and said, Aw, isn't this the daughter-in-law of old Zhao's third branch? Liang Jinqiao smiled and said, Yes, Auntie. Ah, you're still riding a donkey. Give me a ride. My legs are almost broken. I really can't continue walking. If I continue walking, I won't be able to take it. As old Madam Li spoke, she walked toward Xiao Yun's little donkey. Since old Madam Li said so, Liang Jinqiao naturally couldn't refuse. His sight fell on Xiao Yun, and he said to Xiao Yun, look, this. Liang Jinqiao naturally meant to bring old Lady Li. Looking at old Lady Li's appearance, she was really pitiful. After all, she was an old woman and her legs were not agile. It was very difficult for her to walk such a long distance. Now that they were 5 or 6 miles away from the village, it seemed that old Madam Li couldn't take it anymore. Chapter 892. Mother, there are already enough people in our carriage. I don't think we can fit all of them. It seems that Xiao Mao is having a hard time pulling the carriage. It's much slower today. Zhao Yun's voice was neither loud nor soft, and old lady Li happened to hear it. She immediately said to Zhao Yun, little girl, I'm so pitiful. It's still so far away. If we really walk there, I don't know how long it will take. Will I lose half of my life? Liang Jinchao frowned and asked, Yun, why don't we take it with us? But Xiao Mao can't pull so many people. Zhao Yun was also in a dilemma. She couldn't tire Xiao Mao out, could she? Although she sympathized with others, there were too many pitiful people in the world. She couldn't help every pitiful person she saw, right? When Zhao Yun was hesitating, old lady Li couldn't help but say, You can't leave me alone. I'm so pitiful. If you can't sit on the carriage, let the young man come down. He's a big man. It's okay for him to walk a little. The young man must remember to respect the old and cherish the young. Give the seat to me. After old lady Li finished speaking, Zhao Yun couldn't help but twitch the corner of her mouth. What kind of person was this? If they had suggested it, they wouldn't have thought it was a big deal, but they didn't expect old lady Li to suggest it herself. Zhao Yun had a feeling that she couldn't say it out loud. But on second thought, old lady Li had such a strange daughter, Li Chuiying. It was normal for her to be strange. After old lady Li finished speaking, the most embarrassed person was Zhao Tianhu. If old lady Li hadn't said it, it would have been fine. After she said it, Zhao Tianhu felt that he couldn't sit still. If he occupied the seat and didn't leave, old lady Li would definitely complain. Zhao Tianhu got down from the carriage and said to Zhao Yun, Sister Yun, I think I'd better get down and let Granny sit. Granny is right. I'm a big man. It's okay for me to walk a little. We are only 2 or 3 li away from the village. Zhao Tianhu took the initiative to give it up, so Zhao Yun naturally had nothing to say. Thus, he nodded his head in response. Old lady Li got into the car happily. He sat forward and even praised Zhao Tianhu, young man, not bad, not bad. You know how to be filial to your elders. Zhao Tianhu smiled awkwardly. Second cousin, we'll leave first. Zhao Yun said to Zhao Tianhu. Zhao Tianhu nodded and replied, Okay, little sister Yuner, you guys go ahead. I'll walk back quickly. Zhao Yuner nodded and patted Xiao Mao's butt. Xiao Mao ran out like a wisp of smoke. On the way, old Madame Li couldn't stop talking. She kept talking non-stop. Alas, fortunately, I met you guys. Otherwise, I would have lost my life when I arrived at old Zhao's house. I'm so lucky. Ha! It must be God who pitied me, so he helped me to meet you guys. Sure enough, good people will be rewarded. Zhao Yuner stretched her ears to listen. She almost spat out a mouthful of blood when she heard old lady Li's words. It was the first time that she had heard someone praise her like this. After old lady Li finished speaking, she saw that no one in the car paid attention to her. She smiled embarrassedly, then pulled Liang Jinxiao's hand and said, Of course, fortunately, I met you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to sit on the donkey. Liang Jinxiao smiled slightly, Aunt, you're too polite. Chapter 893. Old Madame Li thought that if this donkey belonged to old Zhao's family, it meant that old Zhao's family had a lot of money. If they didn't have so much money, how could they have the spare money to buy a donkey? Although this donkey wasn't very expensive, it cost at least 2 or 3 taels of silver, which was not a small amount for a country bumpkin. Before Liang Jinxiao could answer, Zhao Yun answered in advance, Granny, this donkey was bought by my family. Old Madam Li frowned and said, if it was bought by your family, isn't it bought by old Zhao's family? Do you know how to talk? The corner of Zhao Yun's mouth twitched. This old Madam Li was a little too much, wasn't she? If Zhao Yun hadn't seen that old Madam Li was just an old woman who looked half dead now, she would have already hit her. She was afraid that old Madam Li would be unreasonable and blackmail her when the time came. Liang Jinchao chuckled softly and explained to old Madam Li, Auntie, you may not know, but our third branch has been separated from old Zhao's family. When old Madam Li heard that the third branch had been separated from old Zhao's family, she couldn't help but be a little surprised. Ah, you've been separated. Liang Jinchao nodded and said, yes, we've been separated for a long time. Old Madam Li didn't know whether it was good or bad for the third branch to be separated. Old Zhao's family was doing well, so why didn't they separate? If they didn't separate, old Zhao's family would definitely live better together than the third branch living alone. Old Madam Li couldn't help but ask, that, eldest niece, your third branch has been separated, then what about my Yingzi? Has she also been separated? Liang Jinchao shook her head and said, no, only our branch has been separated. When Liang Jinchao said this, old Madam Li's curiosity was piqued. She continued to interrogate Liang Jinchao, why? Why is it that your third branch is perfectly fine and has been separated out? Zhao Yun listened to old Madam Li's nagging and felt that it was too noisy. Why did this old woman talk so much and ask so many questions? Zhao Yun's displeased voice rang out, Mother-in-law, this is our old Zhao family's matter. What does it have to do with you why our third branch is separated? Old Madam Li heard the displeasure and impatience in Zhao Yun's tone, so she said to Zhao Yun, you child, aren't you just concerned about your family? Look at you, how can you speak to your elders? Zhao Yun couldn't help but roll her eyes. Mother-in-law, you just need to care about your own family. You don't need to care about my family. After Zhao Yun finished speaking, old Madam Li felt that her chest was stuffy. This wretched girl, really, no one had ever spoken to her like this. Even if she was impatient, she wouldn't show it so obviously. Zhao Yun's tone was full of obvious disgust. Eldest niece, your lass really doesn't know the rules, doesn't she? I just care about her and ask her a few questions. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Why do you have such an attitude? Liang Jinchao felt that he was caught in the middle and was very sad. Old Madam Li was such a person, but Yuna was a person who couldn't bear to see annoying people. Well, mother-in-law, Yuna is like this. Please don't mind her. Chapter 894. The smile on Liang Jinchao's face was very awkward. Her Yun actually only said a few words. It wasn't as bad as old Lady Li said. It wasn't to the point where no one wanted her as old Lady Li said. Zhao Yun sighed deeply. She suddenly felt that Li Chueying's temper was actually quite good. She probably only learned about half of old Madam Li's behavior and way of speaking. If she learned all of this, Zhao Yun felt that old Zhao's family would definitely be in chaos. After Zhao Yun sneered, she said to old Madam Li, Granny, you don't have to worry about my affairs. At worst, I'll just stay at home for the rest of my life. Can't I live without a man? Old Madam Li's frown deepened. She had always liked to compete with others. Zhao Yun's rebuttal aroused old Madam Li's curiosity. Old Madam Li began to teach Zhao Yun, you little girl, you can't say that. Young people are not sensible. What the elderly say is right. You have to listen carefully. Let me tell you, there is no woman who won't marry unless she can't. If you stay at home to eat and drink, why should your parents support you for the rest of your life? Besides, you can't live off your parents for the rest of your life. When your parents pass away in the future, are you going to live with your brother? In the end, you have to have a child of your own. That way, there will be someone to take care of you when you're old. Xiao Yun felt that she was going to be sick of it. How could there be such a weirdo in this world? Could someone come out and take care of this weirdo? Xiao Yun hated this kind of teaching the most. She was okay with being nagged by others, but she could not listen to it at all. Xiao Yun really could not stand it anymore. She said to old Madam Li, "Granny, aren't you very tired? Why do you have the strength to say so much now? If you're not tired, then get off the car." Old Madam Li was not a fool. Xiao Yun obviously disliked her for being too long-winded. Now she was threatening her. If she said one more word, she would be driven out of the car. How could old Madam Li have the strength to walk so far like this? She originally wanted to continue lecturing Xiao Yun, but in the end, she held it back. "Fine, I'll take a rest." If he were to be chased off and continued to walk for another 5 to 6 miles, he might really lose his life. Soon, Xiao Mao pulled them into the village. Old Madam Li breathed a sigh of relief. They had finally arrived. Now that she didn't have to worry about Xiao Yun abandoning her, she stared at Xiao Yun and asked, "Eldest niece, is this your eldest daughter? I remember that you have a birthmark on your face. You're so ugly. Why are you suddenly so good-looking? The birthmark on your face is gone." After old Madam Li finished speaking, Xiao Yun didn't know whether she should laugh or be angry. This old woman liked to amaze people with her words. She really didn't understand. Couldn't she be more normal? Liang Jinqiao was very embarrassed. In fact, when others said that Zhao Ping'er was ugly, she was very unhappy. No matter what, Zhao Ping'er was her daughter. It was not up to others to say that. Liang Jinqiao cleared his throat and explained to old Madam Li, "Aunt, this is not my eldest daughter. She's my second daughter." Old Madam Li was silent for a while. What she said next almost made Xiao Yun die of anger. "Oh, your second daughter." Chapter 895. Is she the one who got pregnant out of wedlock? Alas, I was wondering why her temper was so weird. It turns out to be because of this. If she doesn't learn good things at such a young age, what will she do in the future? My dear niece, since she has done such a shameful thing, you should discipline her now. Old Lady Li's words were full of sarcasm. She couldn't wait to belittle Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun's eyes were filled with raging fire. She could tolerate it, but it didn't mean that she could tolerate it every time. She was simply asking for a beating in front of the old woman. Liang Jinqiao couldn't stand it anymore. She didn't like others to mention Xiao Yun's past. Originally, Xiao Yun's past was the past, but now it was opened again. It was too much. But she cared too much about her face, and old Lady Li was an elder, so she couldn't say anything. Xiao Yun didn't care so much and scolded old Lady Li, "You old woman, if you dare to say one more word, believe it or not, I'll tear your mouth into pieces. You little girl, how can you be like this? You won't even say a word." Xiao Yun's mouth twitched for a moment. She looked at old Madam Li with cold eyes and said to old Madam Li, "Get out of the car." Old Lady Li was unhappy. "Really, we're about to arrive at old Zhao's house. Can't you take me back by the way? How dare you kick me out? Don't go too far." Xiao Yun snorted. She went too far. Then she must have never seen her worst side. Since she said it politely, old Lady Li didn't want to get out of the carriage, she had to use a special method. Therefore, Xiao Yun kicked in old Lady Li's direction. Old Lady Li fell out of the carriage directly. Xiao Yun controlled her strength when she kicked, so that old Lady Li's bones wouldn't be broken, but it still hurt her. After old lady Li fell out of the carriage, she heard a miserable cry. "Aw! My butt! It hurts so much." Zhao Yuner cursed in her heart. She deserved it. If he didn't teach her a lesson, this old woman wouldn't know what was good for her. Old Madame Li's cries continued. "Ah, I'm afraid my old bones will be broken. How can there be such a cruel person? How inhumane." Old Madame Li's crying and yelling was probably to attract people over. Zhao Yun thought that old Madame Li was most likely trying to use words to create momentum. Liang Jinchao looked at Granny Li, who had fallen heavily on the ground, and was shocked. He hurriedly said to Zhao Yuner, "I think I'd better help her up. She fell heavily, and I think she'll make trouble for us." Liang Jinchao was timid, but Zhao Yuner wasn't. Zhao Yuner pulled Liang Jinchao and said, "Mother, just let her be. Don't worry about her. The more you care about her, the more she'll take advantage of you." Liang Jinchao looked at Zhao Yuner, then looked at old lady Li, and finally sighed. Well, fine, she still didn't help old lady Li. Zhao Yuner's words made sense. The more old lady Li talked to her, the more she would stir up trouble. Zhao Yuner drove the donkey to continue running, and didn't want to talk to old lady Li at all. Old Madame Li looked at the carriage that had run far away and was completely stunned. The shouts that were originally coming from his mouth suddenly disappeared. What kind of person was she? Chapter 896. However, the car had already gone far away. It meant that it did not care if she lived or died. Old Madame Li was very upset. She had originally planned to ask Liang Jinchao to get out of the car to check on her. Then, she would lie on the ground, not move, pretend to be dead, and ask for a sum of money. Now that the other party was ignoring her, what was the point of pretending? Old Madame Li angrily rubbed her painful buttocks and quickly got up from the ground while cursing. After crying out a few times, she continued walking in the direction of old Zhao's house. After her injuries were not light, she slowly vomited and walked for a while before reaching old Zhao's house. Old Madame Li thought that if she had known that it would be so miserable, she would not have mentioned Zhao Yun. If she had not mentioned it, she would not have suffered so much now. Zhao Yun's little donkey arrived at old Zhao's courtyard. Once she reached home, Zhao Yun saw the Qin Yuan family coming over. Zhao Yun guessed that they were most likely here to send the betrothal gifts. However, this family Qin was really generous to drag it out until today. These few days, Zhao Ping had been anxiously waiting at home, afraid that the family Qin people would not come over. Now that they finally came, Zhao Ping's originally worried heart finally settled down. Once she heard the commotion outside, Zhao Ping immediately jumped out and said to Liang Jinchao excitedly, "Mother, Brother Yuan and the rest are here." After Zhao Yun heard that, her body could not help but tremble. This Zhao Ping was really quite disgusting. Mu Chunfang and Qin Dahai also said to Liang Jinchao, "Sister-in-law, we have been busy with some matters at home recently, so we came late." Liang Jinchao smiled and said, It's fine, it's fine. During the busy farming season, who doesn't need to be busy? It's fine as long as you guys can come now." Mu Chunfang smiled, looking a little embarrassed. "Sigh, that's true, but it's our house after all. We shouldn't have come so late. It's fine. Don't worry about it." Zhao Ping also agreed with a smile, "Yes, Auntie, you don't have to feel anything. Just like what my mother said, who has to be busy with every matter in the family." Mu Chunfang smiled with satisfaction and praised Zhao Ping. Ping is really sensible." Zhao Ping smiled shyly. "Of course." At the same time, Zhao Ping looked at Qin Yuan shyly. She wanted to know what Qin Yuan was thinking. Since she was praised by Mu Chunfang, would Qin Yuan also think that she was very sensible? In the end, Zhao Ping was disappointed. Zhao Ping realized that Qin Yuan didn't even look at her. Instead, his eyes were looking somewhere else. Zhao Ping followed Qin Yuan's gaze and looked around. Finally, her gaze fell on her youngest aunt's house. Needless to say, Qin Yuan was staring at her youngest aunt's house. Jealousy suddenly welled up in her heart. Seriously, how could he be like this? Qin Yuan still had her youngest aunt in his heart. Could it be that this man didn't know that it was impossible between him and her youngest aunt? The person he was marrying today was her. As long as it was a woman, she wouldn't be able to tolerate a man having another woman in his heart. Zhao Ping was no exception. In the midst of her jealousy, Liang Jinqiao called out to Qin Shi's family, "Don't stand outside. Quickly come in and have a seat. Let's rest for a while." Zhao Ping quickly pulled Qin Yuan and said, "That's right, big brother Yuan. Let's go in. Why are we standing outside?" You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.